Yeah, they're going to find it's live right now. All right. Well, everybody, we're live. So thank you for coming in. My name is Dan. A lot of you guys and gals have met me. Some have not, but I've been around the company for about 6 years. Previous to that, I sold Stinger Chemicals for about 10 years and Quantum as well. So I've been around the chemical total for about 16 years now. So this is actually a class we've never done really before. It's a little bit of kind of a hybrid, meaning we're going to talk about Quantum, and then we're going to do some installation stuff later. I'm going to duck out and let the young guys do that because they're all good at the hands-on. I'm good at talking, so unfortunately you guys are stuck with me for a little while, and also the rest of the world as well, so welcome if you're live. I keep forgetting that we got to do that too. So what we're going to do today is talk about ceramic coatings, and we'll talk specifically about probably a little information on our ceramic coating. I want to ask, though, who has some questions? When you walked in here this morning or you looked at the class and thought, okay, we're gonna go to this class, what questions did you have that you want answered before I start, so I make sure I answer all that during the presentation? Does anybody have anything specific they want to throw out there? Yes?
Yes, well, I know I did a ceramic coating on the vehicle, so how do you protect it with not to wear it so fast?
Okay, I got that in there, so we're going to answer that question. Yes, sir?
All right, so just say if you apply it and you have like too much of a high spot, what would be the best way to cut it out?
Okay. Yep, we'll answer that in it. So I've got that. We'll do that actually during installation, talk about that a little bit, but I'll talk a little bit about it too. Another question?
Do you also cover interior and exterior of the vehicle?
I will cover the interior, exterior, all of it.
Like
so
the motor and everything?
that one we're not going to do in this class, but I think we'll probably do, we have classes every month, so we'll have more days next month. We have some sales meetings we're doing this week when I'm here. So we're just going to do the one class today. But you're thinking like specifically cleaning engines and... Yep. So probably next month we'll do a little more on the detailing side of things because we've done a lot with ceramics and buffing and sanding. So a lot with paint prep. So we can do that. Yeah, that'd be a good one for next month.
So I know this class is a free class, but do you guys offer, I see you guys offer classes for paint correction and and are those, I know those classes are what are the prices on those?
They're free as well.
Those classes are free as
Yeah.
well? Okay.
Yep.
Just got to show up every morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny. We at one point in time we talked about doing charges for classes, but as a manufacturer, which we are a manufacturer, a lot of you have seen our place over in Live Oak, so we do build all of our own stuff.
Okay.
So we kind of thought as a manufacturer, it kind of makes sense to not charge. And then when we went live and we're taping all this and putting it on YouTube, see how old I am? I said tape. Pretty sure we're not taping this. I'm pretty sure we're recording it. But so then when we decide we're going to do that, it's like, well, how do you charge you guys to come here? And then we throw it out on the World Wide Web for everyone to watch for free. So no, we don't charge for any of our classes, and we try to bring as much information to the table. I'm not typically the guy that does them anymore. I started out as the guy who did them back in the day when there was only one of me. Now I've got a bunch of me, and the young guys are actually better at doing the hands-on stuff than I am because I don't do it every day. I used to. I've been in this business since 1998 or 99, so a long time in it. But I'm now more kind of directing them, and they're traveling all over and doing the classes. So that's who you'll get later on. You'll actually get the better guys later on. So Zach is going to be that guy over there. He's walking around right now going, I have no idea what Dan just said. So, so any other questions you guys want answered today?
I know we went through the buffing and everything. So we go through the polishing process. That's when we go into ceramic because you're not using wax anymore.
Correct. Yep, and we'll cover...
all the preps that we did
Yep.
previous class.
Yep, so I'll talk a little bit about that today and just the importance of that. So we'll start off, any other questions, or are we all good? I think the outline will cover most everything that everybody's looking for. So we'll start out a little bit with ceramics. Ceramics really in the automotive appearance or reconditioning detailing industry is not that old. It goes back to about the early 2010s. But ceramics themselves have been around for a long, long, long time. Ceramics have been used in engines, space shuttle. They're around doing a lot of different things. And there's a lot of different types of ceramics as well. In the automotive industry, generally, we're using a quartz silica ceramic, usually an SiO2 base, which is a nanomolecular product. The reason I talk about this is there's a lot of terminology that gets thrown around in the ceramic industry. You know, you go to one shop and they say they're doing a ceramic coating and they're spraying it on. Some wipe it on. You know, typically spray-ons are going to be boosters, or they're going to be shorter term ceramics. The wipe-ons, like what you see with our Quantum, is going to be a much longer. They're also very hard to buff in a lot of years. Takes longer. It's harder paint. Some of them are softer, just like a lot of cars out there nowadays. Well, when they brought it in, it was also a convertible. So that adds another challenge, because anytime you're buffing a convertible, you got to tape off the top of the convertible top. Otherwise, you're going to make a mess of it. So now we got a car, when we saw it, it was in horrible shape, scratches all over it. It had a convertible top, and they were quoted $1,400. They buffed that car for a whole entire day before they could even get to the point to put the ceramic coating on it. So did they make any money? Nope, not at all. Learning experience. So we talk a lot about that in here because our goal is for you guys to make more money. Our goal is for you guys to use a lot more of this every chance you get, because I have lots of kids I got to feed and lots of ex-wives that want money from me. So the more you buy of this, the much, much happier I am. So my daughter always gives me a hard time. She watched one of my videos once. She goes, "Dad, you shouldn't say you're married 3 times and you got 5 kids. I'm like, well, it's the truth. And you guys aren't cheap. Hope she's watching this one. So, you know, that started out as a good thing. Oh, I'm going to sell a $1,400 job. Normally I'm selling a $300 detail. Well, buffing that car for a whole entire day, taping off the convertible hood, prepping it, technically I think took them about 2 days. Well, if you start looking at 2 days, 10-hour day, materials, lights, heat, air conditioning, leases, ownership of the shop, you know, that's a real losing battle. So even on the ceramic side, there's a lot of that questions you want to ask somebody when they're talking to you on the phone. You can always quote and say, typically, the best word is typically or normally, our charge for a ceramic coating is this, whether it's $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever. But I do need to see the car to look at the condition it's in, and I'll tell you what else I might have to do if that's necessary and what it will cost to do that. Their question is going to be, well, why would it cost something to do that? Well, the reason it costs something to do that is it scratched? You know, this product doesn't fill in scratches. Waxes do a better job of filling in scratches than ceramic coatings. That optical clarity that we get out of this, that shine, in a lot of cases can enhance scratches in certain lights, in certain conditions. You look at, I have a blue Ford Explorer. Inside my garage, doesn't look that great. Outside in the sun, looks like $1 million. Guess what? I don't buff cars as much as I used to anymore, so I'm okay with that. When I walk out in the garage, I just close my eyes, I get in and pull out in the sun, I look at, oh man, my car looks awesome. It is not perfect in the garage, but outside it is literally perfect. So this isn't gonna fill in scratches. So you do need the car to look a certain level before you start to apply or even get to that point of prepping the car and applying it. So let's talk about what we like to call shiny scratches. So shiny scratches are exactly what my car has in them. It's got little tiny scratches that you see inside the garage because there's a different light. You bring it outside, looks like $1 million, you can't see the shiny scratches. Typically, customers look at their cars outside. Nobody outside of probably us is examining the car from this far away. You know, I'm looking at my car and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a scratch. They just look at it and they go, it's shiny. Looks great outside. Walking across the parking lot. Oh, there's my shiny, clean car. So you need to set that expectation to the customer of, okay, well, your car is really scratched up. So what's your goal with ceramic coating? My goal with a ceramic coating most of the time is I want my car to stay cleaner longer because I live in Colorado and I drive on mountain roads all the time. And I have a 10-foot fly rod rack on top, which means it's not easy to wash my car. And in Colorado, we legally cannot wash our cars in our driveway, which is actually most states now. So it is actually illegal in most states to wash your car in your driveway because the water runoff is not good. The cities don't get happy about that. Now, I've yet to hear anybody get a ticket for that, but I'm sure it's out there somewhere. So if I was to wash my car in my driveway, all my Colorado neighbors who are very green, they'd all come over and, Dan, you know, you shouldn't be washing your car in your driveway. So it's hard to wash my car. I have to bring it to the coin-operated wash. And to do it right, it costs about $30 every time I do it, because I do the wheel wells and I do everything, because this is the business we're in. So my goal with my ceramic coating was really, I wanted gloss and I wanted shine, but what I really wanted was a very hydrophobic, slippery surface that the dirt and mud that I drive through all the time isn't sticking on there. So I have a little different purpose in mind. Now, if you have a guy with a McLaren or a Corvette or a Porsche, they want super shiny. They're not driving on dirt roads like I am, going fly fishing. They can run their car through a wash or bring it back to you regularly for maintenance. So there are different expectations that get set with ceramics as well. So a good question to ask is, well, what's your goal of having a ceramic coating on your car? If the answer is, oh, my neighbor has one, I love how shiny his is, great. Tell you what, let's take a look at the car, look at the condition of your paint. Now, if you look at it and you go, boy, paint looks good, if you're good with how this looks now, I can add the ceramic coating, it'll be even shinier and more beautiful. Is that what we're looking for? Yep, that's what I want. Great, well, let's do that. Well, that's a pretty easy one. If the car is scratched up and the expectation is, well, I want you to fix all the scratches and then put the ceramic coating on it, that gets to a different level. Now we're looking at additional charges, because it's not going to take that same amount of time as it is that first car where you're just putting it on. Prep it, put it on. So those are the things you want to keep in mind, and those are the traps you can fall into when you're quoting things over the phone. So I always tell everybody, I wouldn't quote a car out when over the phone. I would quote a car out when you see it. So
Juke Nova has a question. He asks, does dirt and mud stick to wax more or to ceramics more?
come up here.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Does dirt and mud stick to wax more or ceramics more is the question on.
So that's a great question. Actually, I don't even know if I put that in my outline. The question was, does dirt stick to a wax or a ceramic more? Waxes are generally going to hold or collect dirt more, because a wax is a shell. So we will talk about that. A wax is a shell. This is a coating. In my terminology that I use, and this is different in the industry, so you kind of have to ask the questions when you're talking to someone, but a coating over the car is almost like a semi-permanent piece of glass. That's kind of the easiest way to describe it. Wax is a shell, meaning that if you wax a car, it's going to go all the different things that are contaminated in there. If you don't get them off with clay, it's going to be an uneven surface, which doesn't create an even surface tension. Even surface tensions are going to displace water and displace dirt better, which is what a ceramic coating is. So the simple answer to that question is, waxes will typically cause more cling of dirt, and they will not shed water as well. They'll bead water in a lot of cases, and that water will bead on there and kind of stay if you're not going down the road at 80 miles an hour. So this is your best protection right here. This is your best option for keeping a car cleaner longer, getting water shed off better, and the longevity of it. So let me see if we're even close to my outline. All right, actually the next thing we're going to talk about is 3 different types of protection are predominant in our industry. You have waxes, you have paint sealants, and you have ceramic coatings. So long ago, I started working in auto parts stores. I think I was like 14 or 15. We sold wax. Came in a tub. Turtle wax is the #1 seller. They called it Turtle Wax Hard Shell Wax. And you put it in your car. It was horrible to put on. It was hard to get off. You let it sit overnight. We don't do that anymore. Don't ever let that happen now. But that was a wax. And it was really, at that point in time, probably the only real protection out there for a car's surface. Waxes have been around forever. That was the first form of protection, we'll call it, in the protection of a paint surface. So then what came along is paint sealants. Now paint sealants are different. A wax is a carnauba generally, or sometimes banana oil. There's different bases for wax, but they're natural substances. So carnauba comes from the carnauba tree. That you take that, we melt it down, we put it in our products, we make sure it stays liquid or however we work with it. That's a natural substance. A paint sealant is a science-engineered product. And what it really is, these are some fancy words, is a cross-linking polymer. So that cross-linking polymer, when paint sealants came along, that was better than wax. And in my opinion, it was easier to apply than waxes in most cases. Now, waxes have come a long way since way back then when I was 14 or 15. That was like 40 years ago. Wow. Um, so from paint sealants, remember, we went from a natural substance to a science-engineered substance. Well, just like everything in the world, science comes along and starts getting involved in something, and it evolves. It goes from the first rendition or the first version, and then another scientist goes, hey, what if we did this and make it even better? What if we did this and make it even better? So paint sealants were really the first step in what we called a coating. So we used to make coatings, it was called steel coat. That was one of the first products we made way back in 88, 89, and we sold them all over the country except in this country. We sold them all over the world. So Asia, everywhere, Middle East. So that was actually one of the first products we made as a company, was a product called Steel Coat. That was a paint sealant. You could put it on, you could light it on fire, you could do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. I don't ever recommend somebody lights a car on fire. I've had actually people say, hey, should I do that thing where I light the car on fire? Well, I would. Would you do it to your own car? If you won't do it to your own car, I wouldn't do it to a customer car. And I don't want to light my car on fire. So from paint sealants, we started going into ceramics. The benefit of a ceramic is very hard. Now, when we talk about hard, and remember I had this one. Now here's two products that say ceramic on them. This has a ceramic element to it, meaning it's a nanomolecular protectant with the cross-linking polymers, and this is an SiO2 based. SiO2 is a much more durable version of silicone, basically. This is good. This is better. This is going to last. I mean, honestly, I've seen this product go 7 years with the right maintenance. I've seen a lot of other ceramic coatings go 7 years with the right maintenance. This is probably going to be more of a 6-month type product, a booster. We'll talk about kind of how boosters fit into the picture. But the history of ceramics all comes from people wanting to protect their cars, make it shinier and shinier and shinier. And as that protection came about and the paint sealants evolved into a ceramic coating, that's still what we're working with. So this is kind of the third generation of protectants. Now you'll hear about graphene. We work with graphene on our car wash side, actually, more so on our ceramic side. We've tested this product with graphene. Graphene, in a lot of cases, is a great material. My tires on my car have a graphene in them. So you say to yourself, okay, well, if your rubber tires have a graphene, why would graphene benefit a ceramic coating? Graphene is actually naturally a more flexible coating. It is still nanomolecular. It's got a little bit more longevity. The cost goes up with the ceramic as well, though. So when we look at this product and we go, okay, well, we've already seen it last 7 years, typically 3 to 5 years with the right maintenance is very common. If we're adding graphene and we're increasing the cost a whole bunch, are we really increasing the longevity? If you have a surface that's not rigid, meaning solid, a graphene coating makes more sense. Airplanes, not necessarily boats anymore, but that's where that graphene really plays in the industry, is if you look at, like, I'm sure the space shuttle has graphene in it somewhere. The reason is it's more flexible. So we didn't add graphene to this. Now we may do that as this line expands, because graphene is kind of a buzzword with customers, because customers Google. You know, Google's great. When you got a cold, you Google, realize you're gonna die. You know, it takes about 3 different Google searches to go, that's it, I'm dying. Do I got my will updated? Hope the kids are gonna be okay. Just like Googling ceramic coatings, you're gonna get a whole bunch of information. So your customer may get stuck on graphene. So it's good to have that kind of explanation to them. We actually are experimenting with graphene in a wax. That's kind of cool. We're getting some good results with that. Waxes are different than this because they are a wax paste.
Can you put graphene on top of that?
So I'll tell you about that in a little bit. So that's a very good question. If I get off track and I don't get to that, remind me, because that's a very, very good question. And actually, I did Google search some things last night that I wanted to see what the opinions were in the industry, and I realized that's never, ever a good idea. Are you guys part of any detailing forums on Facebook? Yeah. I fall down that rabbit hole, and I want to run myself through a brick wall sometimes, because I see all these people, you know. I always like, I've been in this industry long enough, and I've never been a detailer. I've always worked for manufacturers. So I don't have what some of those guys have back there as far as running the shops and doing that. That's why they do a lot of the business classes. But scientifically and technically and manufacturer-wise, I have a lot of experience in this. So whenever I see a forum and they say, well, I've got this problem, and someone says, oh, well, you should grab peroxide or bleach. I go, no, you shouldn't. Some of those chemicals, I see people say, oh, well, I mix a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and they're a scientist, they're a chemist. Well, some of those things, when you mix them together, turn into pretty noxious, bad chemicals for you, for the air, for the respiratory system that you're breathing. So when I tell people, when we make our products, we make them specifically for a reason. If you look around this room, there's probably 120 products in this room. We actually make 300 different chemicals. We make things with enzyme. We make things with ammonia. We make things with alkalines. We make acids. We make alcohols. Some of those things can't be combined without causing issues. So when we talk about chemicals and we talk about manufacturing, it's really a lot of research and time goes into all the different things that we make. Typically, if we start testing a product, which that whole back corner over there is my detail team. Hey, detail team, raise your hands and say hi. Oh yeah, we're missing Bruno. A lot of you guys know Bruno. Bruno's over at the store. Somebody's got to run that store right now. But the detail team learned, and I learned this when I started working for Stinger Chemical, making a chemical stay consistent, not break down in the bottle, not smell, work for a long period of time is not an easy process. I went from selling Stinger Chemicals in Minneapolis, Minnesota, to working for Stinger Chemicals, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can just say, here, make this chemical for me. Well, my first one I asked about making was our Cut, Polish, and Protect, our 810. And I said, yeah, I want a polish and a compound and a wax all in one. And the chemist says, okay. And I'm like, all right, sweet. Can I have that in like 2 weeks? And he's like, I'll have something for you in about 2 weeks, but it's going to take a little bit. And I'm like, well, why? He goes, well, you got to test it. And then we got to let it sit. And then we got to put it in cold, and we got to put it in hot. And we got to make sure it stays in its form. And I'm like, oh. So how long does this take? Usually about 4 to 12 months. And I'm like, what? We're a chemical manufacturer. We can't make this in 4 days. Are you kidding me? It's not that easy. It's actually very, very hard, because what happens is everything changes. If that pH level changes just by a hair, it changes how the chemical works. More than often, it changes how that bottle sits. If you look at our chemicals, we don't get that separation in our chemicals. We don't get that breakdown because we test it for that. So there's a lot that goes into the technology of these things. So you asked a good question about graphene. One of the things that happens in our industry, and I think people throw it around a little more than it probably is happening, is it's called clogging a ceramic. So clogging a ceramic means you're going to get a whole bunch of different beading, different shine, and usually what happens then is you need to do a treatment with an acid to kind of unclog those pores. I think, again, that's thrown around a lot more than what really happens. I think a lot of times when people say the ceramic has clogged pores, I think it's not a very good ceramic. If it breaks down that quickly and causes that many problems, my thought is, well, I probably didn't get the best ceramic on the market. So typically adding something to the top of a ceramic is not a good idea. Because if you think about, the way the ceramic bonds is it's like pores. So just like our skin has pores in it, so does paint. So we have to work with a surface that's clean. First off, has no contamination on it. So adding something on top of a ceramic is generally not a good idea. And also, too, there are different types of ceramics. So you don't necessarily know what you're dealing with unless you installed it yourself. The best thing to do is do the boosters. So do a spray ceramic booster, do a ceramic wash, so a neutral pH wash with a ceramic element to it. Now, this is not the hardened piece of glass we're talking about. This is the base materials, the SiO2 and the stronger, more durable silicones, newer technology. Those are typically what you want to do. The other side of that, too, is you want to make sure your customers are coming back and getting their car taken care of. So who's the best person to take care of the car after the ceramic is installed? Person who put the ceramic on, right? So that's you. So that's when it's a good time to start talking about maintenance. You know, okay, your ceramic's on. Now what I'd like you to do is let's make an appointment for 6 months from now to do a maintenance for you. And that way you still continue to get that shine and that protection and that water beading effect, the hydrophobicity. Another fancy word in our industry, just means water sheds off the surface. Yes, sir.
So I usually use the ceramic spray as like a drying aid. So like when I'm doing like a rinseless wash, spray it, dry it. Sometimes customers they want a wax, so I'll put the wax on top. Do you think so? If you're doing a wax, should I do a wax first and then a ceramic spray?
Yes. So the way a wax attaches to a surface is it really needs to have that surface. If you're trying to put over a slippery ceramic, yeah, it's not going to bond as well. So if you look at, so back when I was younger, 450 years ago, it used to be I did a lot of stuff with show cars. I had a lot of friends who had fancy show cars. So the way we did it was we would do a wax and then we would do a paint sealant over the top of it. And we'd layer that. And the more layers you put on a car, the more gloss you're going to get, the more depth you're going to get. And waxes will create that effect, and you can pile them on top of each other and just continue to give it more and more depth. Ceramic coatings aren't like that. So ceramic coatings, because of the slickness, you're going to want to do a wax first, and then you can use a ceramic or a paint sealant over the top of it. That usually won't cause you issues. So, you know, wax is still a great product. And honestly, a lot of people like to wax their cars. You know, you got to...
That was my question. Is it really necessary to do both? Because I see a lot of the older school guys like to still use wax, and it's like, when I like to say on the fire, why are you even still doing wax? A ceramic coating is 100 times better, and it's a lot easier to apply than putting on the wax.
This is generally just as strong as some of the best waxes out there. So because of the technology, you know, it's just a more technologically advanced product, more modern product. People like to wax their cars because, I don't know, you guys know I've been married 3 times, so a lot of times I just wanted to spend time in the garage. I didn't want to be in the house. I wanted to be in my garage. So I waxed my car. Oh, honey, I got to wax the car. Didn't you just do that last weekend? Yeah, it needs it a lot. So that romance or that appeal of waxing a car a lot of times is that it's just you're out in the garage, you're working on your toy, your baby. You know, car's the second most expensive thing you own in your life or have in your life. So a lot of that waxing is what people want to do. Typically in our business, your ceramic spray sealant that you're using as a drying agent leaves a lot of protection, a lot of shine behind. So the reason it works good as a water drying agent, that's actually got a solvent in it, so it disperses the water. So that's why it works good as a drying agent. You know, people want us to make a drying agent specifically for drying agent, and I keep telling everybody your best drying agent's right here. I don't want to make another chemical that already does what this does really, really well, and this adds a lot of protection. So when you start talking about people going, well, I want something that makes the car dry faster, this is your answer right here. Works great. And this is also part of the maintenance step. So if you have that customer back in 6 months later, you can use this ceramic shampoo and this on top of it, and it's a phenomenal effect.
So do you dilute that, or do you just use that straight out?
That's straight.
That's straight out.
Yep. Yeah, this is a very complicated formula. This formula actually took us probably almost a year to perfect. In fact, this formula, we can't put a lot of different fragrances in it because it breaks the chemical down and doesn't work right. So once we got it working the way we wanted to, and you notice we tried to make everything smell good, that product, the chemist kept saying, well, it doesn't smell good enough. It doesn't smell good enough. I'm like, what are you talking about? It smells like bananas to me. It's actually, I think, tropical pina colada or something like that. But they wanted to cover up that chemical smell that's in it. And I told them, I said, you know what, don't worry about covering up the chemical smell. If it's pleasant, and I think it's pleasant, it is a chemical. I mean, a lot of things out there, when I pick them up, you know, it used to be when I was selling chemicals a long, long time ago, I'd hand somebody a bottle of wheel cleaner, you know what they do? They'd walk over to the wheel and spray it on the wheel. Now when I hand somebody a bottle of something, what's the first thing I do? Open it up and they smell it. Yeah, I'm the same way too now. But some of the things out there that I smell, I go, you know, this smells like rose water. It smells like perfume. Knowing the science of chemistry and manufacturing now, after being here 6 years, I'm by no means a chemist. None of these things did I create them. I might have named them. I might have said it should be green. That's about the extent of my chemistry right there. But knowing and being here, If it's a chemical, it's probably going to have a bit of a chemical smell to it. If it smells like cologne or perfume, there's probably not really a lot of chemical in it because it's hard to cover up chemical smells. So I smell things because I want to smell, does it smell like alcohol? Does it smell like acid? Does it smell like ammonia? I'm trying to figure out what the base chemical is in it. I think everybody I hand it to is just going, man, I can't wait to smell this. But it is funny. 20 years ago, I hand somebody something, they'd go try it. Now it's, ooh, that smells good. Okay, want to go try it? Yeah. It's got to smell good though. So this one, when you use it, you'll actually smell the chemicals inside of it. You know, it does have a chemically smell to it, but it's a pleasant smell. But that was what the chemists were dead set on, trying to get that to smell so good. And they were so worried about having that little bit of chemical scent to it. And I'm like, you know, the chemical scent is good. I want people, when they're using our products, to know that there's real raw materials in there. There's real science behind building that. So let's talk about, there's different ways we can do this and different, yeah, and I'm already way off course here. Okay, so you asked about prep. So why does prep matter so much? We talk about a lot of ceramic prep, and we do a whole entire class based on ceramic prep and ceramic install. The ceramic prep process is generally going to be a buff of some sort, if you choose to do so, or the customer chooses to pay you to do so. It's going to be a decontamination always. You're always going to decontaminate before you put a ceramic coating on. Decontamination means you're going to get iron particles out with a clay or an iron remover. You're going to wipe that surface clear of all the silicones, fillers, oils. You know, even us touching a surface with our fingertips leaves oil on that surface. So when you're prepping a car for a ceramic, the reason we do that is we want that paint so decontaminated, so ready to have a ceramic installed on it. And I kind of go back to, if you think about hand lotion. You take hand lotion, put it on your hands, and if your hands are dirty, what'd you accomplish? Not a lot, because your hands are dirty. So the hand lotion's not really getting onto your skin, it's getting onto the dirt. So it's just like that. You know, when I put hand lotion on, and I live in Colorado, so we use a lot of hand lotion, because the opposite of here, you guys have a lot of this crazy humidity stuff, just a little bit in Houston. You guys are the third most humid city in the whole entire country. I looked one day because I was so overwhelmed by heat and humidity. So I don't necessarily love the humidity here. I'm used to my very dry climate in Colorado. So we use a lot of hand lotion. Well, never do I walk in from the garage after I just replaced a valve cover gasket and go, oh, I better put some hand lotion on. I go in and I wash my hands and then I put the hand lotion on. That's exactly the same thing with ceramic. If you put a ceramic over the top of something that has contamination, it does not have the ability to bond to that surface. So the prep in a ceramic coating is incredibly important. And the steps of a prep for ceramic coating are, again, if you're going to buff, you're going to probably buff first. Now, most of the time people will clay before they buff anyways, especially on dark color cars because they're harder to buff. Clay should always be used at some point during the prep process. Iron removers should always be used during the prep process as well. Somewhere around here we have our iron remover. Iron remover is great because it seeks out ferrous metal particles. That's what it does. Over there. See, Zach didn't get me my iron remover, did he? Way to go, Zach. I like to give Zach a hard time because he's the jolly guy in the group, I like to call him. So anybody who's met Zach, he's got the smile that's just infectious and you can't get mad at him. I actually can get mad at him. Yeah, it happened one time. Yeah. We do have a meeting tomorrow scheduled, just so we're clear. What's that? So it should always be before you buff, but you will read certain manuals, trainings, whatever you want to call them, and they say clay after buffing. In our opinion, and this is a unified vision and view of Stinger Chemical, claying is always the first thing you got to do because you got to get that surface clean even before you buff it. You know, if you have a surface that has contamination and you take your buffing pad and put it on that surface, you've created sandpaper. You know, it's just like what we have over here. You got a buffing pad on a surface with contamination, doing a pattern like this. We are now making more scratches. So claying should always be the first step in the process. Some people will tell you iron remove and then clay. That doesn't matter at all. You can do either one of them either way. But I really, when we have calls about our ceramic coating, most of the time there's two things I hear. One, your ceramic coating doesn't work because I have all these little orange spots. Well, those little orange spots are things that are stuck in the paint that are iron and they rust, and they cause those little orange spots. Well, how does that happen? It happens because it was never removed in the first place. If it's never removed in the first place, it is going to turn orange again. Second thing I hear is water spotting. We'll talk about water spotting in just a second, because Zach looks like he has something he wants to say. Do we have a question, Zach?
So yes, Mr. Kirby from the IDA
Okay.
asked how long after prep can the quantum be applied, or what is the application time?
So right after prep, you can apply a quantum ceramic coating or pretty much any ceramic coating. So the question was how long in between the prep and the ceramic coating?
Yes.
So if you put all that time into the prep, I would do the ceramic coating right away. Because anytime you leave a car sitting, if you pull in your garage and your car's clean and smooth, it's not uncommon 2 days later to have things falling on your car for your garage. So in my opinion, if you're going to spend all that time prepping it, make it all in one process and do the ceramic coating right after that. We'll talk about how our ceramic coating cures in just a second. So the second thing I have people ask about is water spotting. They'll say, hey, your ceramic coating didn't work because I have water spots. Now, I've learned through years and years and years of answering these calls how to answer that question. I say, what did you do originally to remove and neutralize the water spots? And they go, well, I buffed it. Well, the problem with buffing water spots is you can remove visually that water spot with a buffer or sandpaper, but a lot of times that's embedded in that paint, and that's a chemical reaction. That's not an abrasion. That's not a scratch. That's not a scuff. That's a chemical reaction. So if you don't neutralize that, which neutralization of water spots is done usually with low pH chemicals, like our water spot remover, if you don't neutralize that water spot, it's going to reform itself because it's almost like a growth. So if you put a ceramic coating over the top of it, that's great. It's going to look awesome until it reactivates and creates another water spot. And unfortunately, now it's underneath that semi-permanent coating. So another part of prepping is, do we have water spots that we have to deal with? So now we've got a clay, an iron remover, and we've got to eliminate the water spots. That's the removal process for all the different contamination on the surface. Now, from there, we look at our surface, we decide, do we want to buff this? Do we need to buff it? Most importantly, is the customer paying us to buff it? Because that should be an extra charge unless you include in the package, a single step buff. If you're going to buff a car 2-3 steps, I hope you're getting a lot of money for it, because that takes a lot of time. I did my Blue Explorer, and I think I did a 2-step in some areas and a single step in most areas. It was a 2 to 4 hour process. Now, I wasn't going as fast as I probably would be if someone was paying me to do it, but it's not fast to buff cars, so get paid for that. But you decide that. Customer really decides that. If you're going to charge, say, Mr. Customer, I can buff this car and it's going to look a lot better, I'll probably spend about 3 hours and my charge is $200 an hour. And they go, yeah, $600, that's fine. I'll do that. Some of them will go, I don't know, I think it looks pretty good, so no, don't buff it, just make it shinier, make it smooth, keep it clean longer. So that's your next step in that process. Now, when we talk about what products we use during that buffing process, I really recommend using products that don't have silicones and fillers. Silicones and fillers are in some of our products that are meant for the dealership world, or the single step wax that the customer is going to pay maybe $60 for you to wipe on their car. Using non-silicone chemicals, which all of our body shop safe chemicals have no silicones, no fillers, all the way from our 801 or 800 power buff all the way down into our final hand wax. None of those have silicones or fillers. The hand wax will fill just because it's a wax, that's its purpose. But really what we're going to use when we're buffing is compounds and polishes. We don't want any protection, we don't want anything left behind. So the non-silicone products that don't have the fillers, don't have the silicones, are going to make it much easier for you to see what you're working on and see the actual look of it. Second thing is, you're not adding something to the surface that you have to remove later on. So you don't want to make your job harder by throwing silicones on top of it and then having to remove those later on. People will ask me, okay, well, why would you make anything with a silicone in it? I'll tell you why. Dealerships. Dealerships want a car to go out on that lot and look like $1 million, and they want it to be shiny. They want to cover up scratches. Now, if we take alcohol or we take our tree sap remover or any of our solvents and we wipe that type of product down, you're going to see it hides a lot of stuff. We don't want to hide anything because when we put the semi-permanent coating over the top of it, we want it to look just like what we see it look. So from there, you're going to use a solvent wipe down. In our case, ceramic coating prep. This is what you're going to use to wipe it down. And then you're going to go into that next step process, which is applying your ceramic. Our ceramic takes about an hour to get past its first curing point. When I say its first curing point, it actually takes anywhere from 12 to 24 hours for a ceramic like ours to actually cure fully through. After an hour, you're pretty safe getting it outside as long as it's not raining, snowing, happens to be a pollen storm, or you're driving down the road and you guys got these things called love bugs. You know, we don't want to do that with the car. Technically, what we really want to do is let it sit as long as possible up to that 12 to 24 hour period. Now, most customers, if you're doing a ceramic coating, they're not waiting for it. You know, they're leaving it with you. So I would always suggest with our formula that you tell them, if you can leave it for me in the morning and pick it up the next morning, that would be the best, because that gives me enough time to work on it. So 12 to 24 hours is cure time. Now, people, so here's the best sales pitch I've ever heard, and I'm going to shatter probably a lot of people's thoughts out there, but multiple coats of ceramic. If a ceramic is a 9H hardness like ours, which is basically lead, that's as hard as pencil lead basically, does adding more coats to it really benefit anything? It does one thing. You're probably going to get more shine and depth out of it, but as far as protection-wise, you're not really getting more protection out of it because all you're doing is putting another coat on top of an already hard coat. So if you think about it, 2 hard coats, do you need the second coat? Most cases not. Now, if you're charging the customer more to do a second coat because they want that ultimate shine, perfectly fine. With ours, you want to do that second coat exactly after an hour. So at that hour, if I started on the front fender of that car, front driver's fender, and I work my way around and I'm done in a half hour with the whole car, I need to wait another half hour before I start to put that second coat on, because it has to get through that first curing stage to put a second coat on at that point. If you do it before an hour, it might work, but I've been in situations where the heat and humidity affects things differently. So I always tell people the hour is always the safe time frame. People have told me they put 2 coats on 24 hours after the fact. Here's what a chemical salesperson who works for a manufacturer says. Oh, how'd that work out for you? Oh, it was great. Well, good. Perfect. I once walked into a shop in Wisconsin and he had our concrete remover on the shelf, and I said, oh, I see you used our concrete remover. How did it work? He goes, oh, it was great, man. That seat was covered in concrete. And I go, oh, hold on, seat? Seat. And I said, seat? And he goes, yeah, it was a construction truck. The guy had concrete on his back of his pants, sat down and got concrete all over his fabric seat. And I'm like, oh, and it worked good? Yep, worked great. Seat stayed the same color? Yep, worked great. He goes, was I not supposed to do that? I go, technically, we did make that product for the exterior of the vehicle, but you know what? A lot of times things will work their way into other parts of the car. You know, people always ask me, what's the most universal cleaner you sell? It's glass cleaner. Honestly, glass cleaner is a great cleaner for glass, dashes, steering wheels, kick plates, sometimes certain stains. Glass cleaner works on better than others. So I don't recommend we go crazy with all the chemicals and go, all right, well, there's a stain there. We're going to throw some wheel acid on that. But there are a lot of times when people will tell me, hey, I tried this chemical on this, and my reaction is always, well, how'd that work out for you? If they say, not very good, the seat's a different color now, I go, well, yeah, that's because it's made for the outside of the car. But, you know, those things happen. So we get to the point where we're putting our ceramic on. Now, people will say, okay, how long do I need to leave that ceramic coating on before I wipe it? That's a hard question to answer because weather conditions really change that a lot. You know, hot, humid, you got a little more of a window of time. Dry and hot, you have less of a window because things react differently. It's like wax. You know, if you take wax and put it on a car and it's 100 degrees and 12% humidity, it dries really, really quickly. Same thing with ceramics. It's the same application. The weather does affect them. Typically, ours has a nice window of operation time. About 2 to 4 minutes is about where we're at. So in real hot conditions where there's very little humidity, it's probably going to be about that 2-minute window. When the guys do an install later, you'll see how the applicator will leave the little lines and how those little lines will start to look different. That means we've achieved that point where we're going to wipe it off. And they'll show you the process for wiping off too. It's easier for them to show you than me to tell you, but it's a 2-towel wipe. Now, people say, do I have to throw my towels away after I do a ceramic coating? I always tell them, no, you don't, but you don't want to use them for another ceramic coating. Once you use a towel for a ceramic coating, you want to use that towel for wheels or tire removal or whatever the case is. So I don't say take your $4 microfiber towel and toss it over your shoulder in the trash can when you're done. What I say is put it in a different bin. So if you look at this, we've got all these different bins with all these different color towels. So when I ceramic my vehicle a couple months ago, I took all those towels and I put them in the laundry room. Why did I put them in the laundry room? Because that's where the towels are that clean the house. I didn't want to use them on a car again, but they work perfectly fine for mopping up the floor when I spill some milk or things like that. So that's what I do with my towels, because towels, it used to be crazy. I would sell a box of towels that probably had 60 towels in it, and I'd sell for 25 bucks. This was way long time ago. Now, a good towel, like this window towel, this could be anywhere from $2 to $4. Now, why do we use those towels? Because they work better. I mean, they clean windows faster. So we like having specialty towels, but we just have to watch how we do them. Same thing goes for if you're using a towel to wipe away tire dressing. You know, you don't want to use that same towel for windows because it's not going to work good. That dressing is going to get in there and it's going to, and even washing them, you're going to get some of that out, but still, it's going to stay in there. I mean, microfiber towels absorb a lot of chemical, a lot of water. So, question, sir?
You were saying that once you use the towel, you have to get rid of the towel?
Use it for something else. Yeah, use it for something where you don't want that coating in there. Because a lot of people will say, oh, well, the towel will harden. Most ceramic coatings won't harden in a towel. They don't get all crunchy and hard because that's not what they're made to do. Our ceramic coating goes onto a surface and it activates a painted porous surface. It doesn't make that towel hard. It doesn't turn into crystal. It's just going to sit in that towel and cause problems if you're trying to clean a window or something like that. The reason I say don't use towels, the same towels for a ceramic, is if you think about what you just did to that car, all of that, yeah, it's a little hot in here, isn't it? Yeah.
So even with the applicator pad, I see a lot of guys put it on the applicator pad and use so
Get rid of those.
so just get rid of it.
Yep.
So it's a one-time use and
Yep. Applicator pads, I mean, typically, I think, so there's lots of different types of applicators. You know, we've got the pucks like this. This is what I typically like to use. We've got the small square applicator like what's in our kit here. So this one, now I use this particular one without a silk cloth. Now there's also ones out there that you have a silk cloth, so you'll just keep wrapping that kind of microfiber silk over the top of it and doing it, and then you take that and throw it away but continue to use the same applicator. Typically, I find this works great as is. One thing we don't want to do, this is, if a guy is watching me that's in probably North Dakota or Minnesota right about now, one of my best friends named Shane. Shane does things very fast and very fiercely. So we're doing a ceramic coating and he's wiping it off and he's wiping it off like this. And I'm like, why are you so bad at that car? Stop rubbing the car so hard. You know, once we get to the point where we're putting the ceramic coating, hi Shane. Once we get to a point where we're putting the ceramic coating on the car, we don't need to wipe hard. We don't need to use the towel aggressively. You know, we want to be gentle. That's we've just done our Mona Lisa. You know, that car is our art project that we just got done. So the last thing we want to do is start using dirty towels, applicators that are going to scratch. So it doesn't really matter what applicator you use. They all work. Some work better for a certain person than another person. But the whole goal is to get it on that surface gently and thoroughly. So you asked about high spots, low spots. So one of the reasons we do give a lot of product is generally what I've found in my experience is people who are getting a lot of high or low spots, they're using a little tiny bottle, this big, and they're worried about running out. So they put it on very thin. They use it very sparingly. When you have this much ceramic, I did a 28-foot pontoon, and we did panels, interior, motor, and this had a 200 or 300 horse Mercury on it. When we did it, it was me and a friend of mine, and he was doing the motor, and I heard, and I'm like, oh shit. Because what does that mean? It means it's running all over the floor right there. So he drops it, picks it up. You know what? We still had enough chemical after having, you know, a fairly good sized puddle. We still had enough coating to finish out that 28-foot pontoon. So we do give you a lot. And I suggest to people that, you know, there's no benefit, at least with our product, to putting it on thin. Because everything you're wiping off on the top is part of what's designed into that chemical to spread that ceramic around, keep it in a liquid form until it does harden on the surface. So high spots, low spots, I tend to see them more when there's a couple different problems. One, lighting. You know, lighting is ultra important. We actually sell the scan grip lights that we use over there. That one right there, if you notice that white shield on the front of it, that's a diffuser that scan grip makes to create a light pattern that shows high spots, low spots better. So that little white shield is specifically for doing ceramic coatings. But light is a huge deal. You know, how many of you have ever cleaned a car inside your shop on the inside, pull it outside, and you go, oh, well, now there's stains I see outside because you got better light. You know, sunlight shows things differently. If we take this light right here in this room and we look at those hoods, you're going to see probably some scratches. You take it outside, you're not going to see those scratches because we have two very different kinds of light. So especially in shops with poor lighting, I would buy some scan grip lights and I would buy those diffusers and make sure you have those. That's going to stop that from happening. So not putting enough product on, being too sparing with it. Lighting is an issue, depending upon the window of when you're going to wipe it on or off. If it's curing too fast in some areas, you know, I've had people say to me, oh, I just do the whole car and then I come back around and I wipe it. And I go, does that work for you? And they go, yeah. I said, you making money? Yeah. Customers happy? Yeah. Great. More power to you. Not particularly how I would do it, because your problem then is you've got maybe the front of the car getting past that window of where that flash is. And flash is a word, you know, here's again old school. I call it flash. The reason we call it flash is because when you used to put wax on a car and it would dry and you'd see it kind of all come to the surface, that was called flashing. With ceramic coatings, we really don't want it to flash. We just want that chemical reaction. Now, some brands out there will look like little bubbles on top of them. So it'll look like it's sweating almost. Ours, you'll see the lines define themselves, which we'll show you later. That's really kind of how that happens, those problems. Otherwise, a ceramic coating really isn't any harder to put on than a wax. You just got to be careful, you know.
So just say you're doing a hood, you know, that's the most noticeable part on a picture. So just say toward the center, whatever, you get a couple shallow spots, you know, compared to the rest of them. How would you correct that?
So within our hour, you can add more product to it. So if you start to see a spot, you know, if you're using an applicator like this, you know, it's like we always say with buffing, you want to have some overlap. You know, you don't want to, if you're trying to meet this line with this line over here, don't worry about that. Have some overlap in there. If you have that overlap, generally you won't see that. But if you do, if you see a spot, you know, a thin little strip that you missed, as long as you're within that hour, you can still add ceramic to that and it'll be fine. Outside of that hour, I can't promise you it's going to work as good as that. So does anybody have any questions?
So with this product, you apply with that applicator, and then how long before you come back with the microfiber towel and
So
wipe it off?
you'll see over there, it's generally about 2 to 4 minutes. So the guys will show you, which hood are we doing, Zach? Yeah, that one over there? Okay. I keep pointing over there, but it's that one over there. So how this works with this product right here, you can buy this box next door, you can buy it from one of our Singer distributors or Quantum distributors. This box, or there's online, you can do that as well. This box comes with a 2-year warranty card inside of it. That 2-year warranty card is going to cover your typical fallout, environmental damage, meaning bugs, hard water spots if they're on the surface. It's real easy to tell if a hard water spot's on the surface of a ceramic. You just take a really, really fine polish and a really fine pad, and if you buff that surface real lightly and the water spots come off, they're on the outside of it. If they don't, they're probably underneath the ceramic, and then you got a whole other issue. Because people say, how do you remove this? Technically, to remove this, you use sandpaper or a white wool pad on a rotary buffer, which is a bad idea on any car nowadays. So this is a item that has to be removed with abrasion. You can't grab any chemical I have in here and wipe it all off and it's going to come off. We design it to not do that because we design it to hold up to those. So the 2-year warranty on this one has a card inside. The customer sends the card in or you send the card in. It's a good idea for you to keep a copy of it, and if they have a problem, they'll bring it back to you. Now, the difference with our warranties, and people will say, well, how come you don't have a 10-year warranty one? We actually pay you. We have a company called Drive On Services, which is on this card, that's the number, and they will look at the problem and say, oh, yep, I see there's a problem. We're gonna pay you $120 to do a quick buff on it and reapplication, or whatever the situation is. So we actually pay labor out for you to fix it. Other companies out there, they may have something like that, or they may just say, hey, sorry you had a problem, we're gonna send you a new bottle. Well, who's stuck fixing the problem? You guys. Who's paying for that? You guys. So we have a little different warranty than some. So I'm gonna cover, any other questions? Yeah.
That little applicator,
Mm-hmm.
can that be used again or
Throw that out. I'll actually use probably 4 to 6 of those applicators because it's like clay. If you drop it, you don't want to use it, you know. So, and I drop them because our ceramic gets slick. So that's why we give you the nitrile gloves in there. But yeah, I'll use, typically on a car, you know, I'll use 6 to 10 towels because I'm doing a first wipe and a second wipe, which the guys will show you. I'll use probably 3 to 6 applicators depending upon the size of the car. The other reason behind that is that just once you get that applicator so full of that product, it's just harder to handle. Now these little pucks right here, for people with really big hands, these are great. These have a liner inside of them, so the ceramic doesn't continue to soak into it. It stays on the surface more, and this is what they call a pearl. Say hi to the rag company if they're watching. This is a product that we buy from the rag company and they sell. This is a great way to apply it as well. You've got 2 sides, and it fits in your hand if you got big hands. That thing there, I mean, I have big hands. It's kind of hard to hold on to that sometimes. So, question? So as Quantum expands and we go into more of that retail or shop market, we may have a certification program. It will probably be a video of some sort that we do with you, and because I'll tell you something about the certification programs. You can pick up a product, a competitor of mine, and they say, okay, well, to be certified, you have to pay us $4,000. How many jobs do you have to do to recoup your $4,000? I mean, it's 10 jobs probably before you even get your $4,000 back. So again, training as a manufacturer, we don't feel like it's something we should be charging for because you're using our product. So we want to help you to use the product the best you can and teach you to use it the best you can. So we don't have a certification program, so to speak, right now. We generally know if someone's doing a ceramic coating, they've probably figured out kind of how to do it because, like I said, it's really, the ceramic application process is really easy. It's getting to that point with the prep that takes a little more of that knowledge. Yes, sir. So let's talk about that. We call this Quantum Glass Shield. Now, if you notice, our Quantum says ceramic coating underneath it. The Quantum family started out as a Quantum ceramic coating, this product right here. And from that, we expanded it out. Now, this is not a hardened ceramic. This is that nanomolecular technology. This I use on my windows all the time. Works great. Doesn't last 5 years. I have used many ceramic glass coatings, and most of those long-term ceramic glass coatings will cause the wipers to skip. And also, if you have enough wiper action, you live in the right area, you'll start to see where those wiper blades will cause that arc on the window. So I don't recommend to put our ceramic coating on a front window. Side windows are fine. I mean, I've done it on windows, especially boats. I do it on boats all the time on the windows because then it just, all the stuff runs right off them. It's just where you have that abrasion of a wiper, I would not do that. I would use this product here. This product's fantastic. I mean, you can drive down the road at 70 miles an hour in a rainstorm and not even have to use your wipers. This? If somebody's not going through the gas station car wash, probably 4 to 6 months. If they're going through the gas station car wash with the really crappy chemicals. Yes. Yep, that's what we built this for.
You wouldn't recommend this.
It's not going to hurt anything. It's just the things I've seen with
Because I see
that.
guys, they say, oh, yeah, they ceramic coat the whole car, the windows, everything.
I'll tell you guys a secret that the whole world will know, now I realize. I very rarely use our products anymore because I've been using them for so long, I know exactly how they work. What I do is I will buy other people's products or I will get them for free and test those against ours. I have never really found a hardened windshield treatment that's a ceramic coating in the coating family that I really like, because I've always had some type of wiper skip, or I've seen it where it will show the arc, because basically if you think about it, your wiper blade's going across your window and it's raining. Well, what do you have in rain? Fallout, contamination, pollution, possibly sand. Yeah, so I mean, you're making sandpaper doing this over and over and over again. So sooner or later, you might see that arc. And I don't like wiper skip. There's nothing that irritates me when I turn my wipers on. They go, which most of them will accomplish that. Now, my competitors may say, you know, no, mine doesn't do that. I haven't used everybody's stuff out there, but the reason I use other people's things is I want to see how they work. I want to see, you know, you guys ask a lot of questions in our classes. I do a class called Advanced Product Knowledge. Advanced Product Knowledge, we talk about a lot of chemicals. Well, how am I really supposed to tell you how my chemical works, one, if I haven't used it? All these guys, every one of them. David is our newest rep. David has a pallet of chemicals going to a shop he's going to use, and he's going to test and use every single chemical before he sells it. We require that of every person selling Stinger chemical. That's a mandatory thing. If you're going to tell somebody how this works, you better have used it. So think of that with hundreds of chemicals that we make. That's a process.
Would auto cleaner actually damage a window that has ceramic on it?
A cleaner?
Regular window cleaner.
No. Nope. No. Most of your ceramic coatings are going to be a chemical resistant coating. That one would never, like if I do a boat and I do the windows on that, I'll clean them with a glass cleaner all the time. That's fine. That coating is going to stay on there for years if you're using this one here. This one about 4 to 6 months is typical.
Now, is that true that once I ceramic coat a car, I have to use a certain, shampooed up, soap to...
So I'll have the guys talk about once the coating's on and talk about the maintenance of it. Really what you want to do, if you're doing ceramic coatings, you need to have a ceramic shampoo in your shop for your maintenance washes, because you want to add more protection to it. So everything you use in our line that has a ceramic to it is just going to continue to boost that shine, boost that protection. If you don't apply a ceramic coating to a car and you use this, it looks like you applied a ceramic coating. I mean, I'll tell you what, there's chemicals that we have that are some of my favorites to use of anybody else's out there. That's why I try other people's products. Our enzyme, fantastic, out of the ballpark, awesome cleaner for the interiors. I sell it all the time. It was one of the first Stinger chemicals I sold, actually, was our enzyme pre-spot. When we came out with this is one of my favorite products, and we banged it out of the ballpark. I mean, it is a home run for sure, because you will get that ceramic look from just doing a wash.
So we have a question. The question is our product safe on fiberglass surface such as RVs, boats, or single-stage paints?
Absolutely. Yep. So the question was, can you put our ceramic coating on boats, RVs, single-stage paints? All those are fine. Anything that has a porous surface, meaning it's got the ability for the ceramic to attach to it, which what we just said, all those, gel coat, fiberglass, so your RVs, your boats, paint, single stage, clear coat, all safe to put a ceramic coating on. And they all will benefit from that.
It might be a little bit redundant. So you say you would use that going forward, so like the regular car wash products I use for regular washing the cars with, it'd be that instead of using
Yep. Yeah, if you're selling a ceramic maintenance or a ceramic wash, that's going to be the one you want to do. Otherwise, here's the other thing I'll talk about, is neutral pH soaps. Pretty much every soap we make is neutral pH. I mean, your soaps are going to range a little bit in your neutral category, which pHs, your low pHs are acids, your high pHs are like degreasers and alkalines and bug removers, things like that. Your low pH acids are generally going to be like wheel cleaners, water spot removers, things like that. The soaps that you use from us are all generally right in that neutral range. We have one soap that's stronger than others called Super Soap. That's the one that we recommend in our ceramic process to prep the car with. It's still very neutral pH. I mean, if a soap, here's my favorite thing to say, and the industry hates this. If a soap strips off a ceramic coating, you don't have a very good ceramic coating on that car. Because if it can't hold up to a car wash soap, think about what happens when you drive down the freeway and you got bugs and contamination and pollution and sand and all those things. So the whole neutral pH soap thing kind of came along. It makes sense to use the gentlest chemical you can on it. That makes sense. But if that soap really deteriorates that ceramic coating is not a truly real good ceramic coating. Question?
So a lot of customers I found, like, they are not really familiar with ceramic coating. They'll call me and be like, I want a wax, right? Which is a dated product, and it's obviously not as good. But if I can, I'd like to sell them a ceramic coating. It's a lot more money. And so how do you educate the customer and get their mind off of this wax and get them to buy into the idea of ceramic coating?
So what you just said, the dated part of it, the wax is the older technology. I talk about technology generally. So people say, well, why can't I just wax my car? Why do I have to ceramic coat it, or why should I have it ceramic coated? It's just like everything. If you think about a car, before we had navigation screens in cars, everybody got along just fine without a navigation screen. Now, if I buy a car and it doesn't have a navigation screen, I'm like, oh, I liked my car that had the navigation screen on it. It's just technology. You know, technology changes, things advance, formulas get better. So that's kind of the idea behind that, is I tell them this is the newest, best form of protection for your car. It's going to provide a higher shine. It's going to provide a longer protection. It's the newest technology out there. Now, if they want to wax, then tell them, you know, I can wax your car. It's just that it's typically going to need to be re-waxed in 3 to 6 months. Whereas a ceramic coating, you can bring it in and I can wash it and do a maintenance wash on it and put a little booster on it. It's going to be cheaper than me hand waxing it 4 times a year for you, but you're going to have a better product on the surface of the vehicle. So
Watching a film actually help with his question?
his question was, customer asked about wax. How do you talk to them about ceramic coatings being better?
Would actually watching a film on that, like on YouTube, they have a lot of things going on YouTube. To watch a film on ceramic being used and wax being used, and they could also identify what would be the difference, you know, and so on. So explaining it in that manner.
Yeah, we have some videos. We're getting better at putting out videos on products. We could do a video of some sort, I guess, that would probably help sell it. But really, it's just you, the salesperson in the shop, you know.
I think they're also not expecting to pay so much more when they're thinking about a wax. So I feel like, is there another alternative that's,
Yep,
you know?
there is. So Wash Clay Protect is getting real common in our industry, where you talk to the customer, okay, you don't want to spend $2,500 on a ceramic coating. Tell you what, I can do a Wash Clay Protect, which means I'll do a very thorough hand wash of your vehicle. I will clay it to remove that contamination that's on the vehicle from driving down the road. And then I will use a ceramic-based product like a spray sealant, again, not a ceramic coating, but a sealant that will give you those effects of that ceramic coating. It's just not going to last as long. So we can do that twice a year for you. And you know why dealerships want cars in for oil changes and tire inspections? They love bringing cars in for oil changes because they look at everything else and they realize, oh, we just sold this guy tires, or we sold this woman brakes. Hopefully they really needed tires and brakes. But if you think about getting your customer's car back in there every 6 months, now you've got the possibility of doing the interior. Now you've got the possibility of doing the headlights. You know, there's other opportunities to upsell and add more dollars in revenue to that sale. Yeah,
You have to go.
I have to go give a tour of our other facility. So, yeah. So these guys will go through. I left off at Ceramic
Mind if I
bars.
steal your mic?
Yep.
That's
So you're
where
going to
we're
go
at.
through this ceramic line, then do an install.
Okay.
So thank you guys. I appreciate you coming in. I'm sorry I've got to go and do a tour of our other facility quick for some people that are in town, and they're flying out at like 3, so I told them I'd meet them over there and do that. These guys are perfectly capable. They're probably better than I am. I'm old and I'm grumpy, and every time I get out of bed, it hurts every morning. These guys are young, they're exciting, they're powerful, and know as much as I do. So thank you, everyone.
We're good to go.
Stinger is where, well, yeah, there's a lot. If you do Stinger, Dan, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. But I'm not, these guys are generally the ones on all that stuff. I do it sometimes, but this was a newer class, so I wanted to do that with this. But these guys are great at this, and they're going to do a bang-up job for you and show you how to do it. Because one thing we do like in here is we want to get your hands on things. We want to show you hands-on. It's one thing to talk, it's another thing to actually go through the process and do it. So thank you, folks. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, too.
Awesome. Thanks, man. All right.
Fun.
Right? Enjoy your tour.
Gotcha. So he left off, I believe, ceramic spray sealant.
Does that sound right?
Not gone through the quantum line yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Right here. Sorry.
There you go.
What is it?
It's a Wrangler. It's red. Or no, it's out there. You'll find it.
It's a Wagoneer.
Wagoneer. Thank you.
It's the sealant and actual.
Feel free to jump it. I don't own it.
It does. So the sealant does have a SO2. It's an SO2 base.
Yes.
ma'am.
Once you open it, how long does it last?
With 918,
Yeah.
it should be fine for a long, long period of time. It's very shelf stable.
Yeah.
The biggest problem you'll run into is if you guys put it in the sunlight. The sun ruins all chemicals, guys. It'll eat dyes. It'll eat smells. It could do something funny that way.
Yeah.
So other than that, you're good.
I know you said earlier you use it as a drying agent to help you dry. That's great. That's a great way to do it. You can apply it that way, and it still sticks, and it helps dry the car, like you said.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah. It knocks out that drying process in half almost. And that's the spray.
It's a wash and wax almost, just with more longevity, so that's smart. All right, so we've gone over the actual quantum itself. Did you guys have any other questions before we move past this? We will do hands-on, but are you guys comfortable with all this?
Rob, I just had one. So
Sure.
if you sell this and you want to do a maintenance for your customer every 3 to 6 months, then you could apply the ceramic spray sealant.
Yep.
Absolutely. So you use the shampoo as well as the spray sealant.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And we recommend
They'll both
3 to
boost.
4 months, not as opposed to 6 months, just because you want them coming back.
Three coming back. Okay. Okay.
Top it off after, can you top it off an hour later after?
The hardest ceramic supplied? Absolutely.
Yep. You activated?
I'm activated now.
There you are. Nice.
Does your cleaning process change? You're saying this on your regular vehicle. Does your cleaning process change? Meaning, do you not use soap at all, or do you just use water based in?
After it's applied?
After it's applied.
So no, we recommend
kinda up to
using
you.
a neutral soap. All of our soaps are neutral except for our super soap, which is going to be your stripping soap that you would use in the process before you apply the ceramic coating.
Yeah.
Bubblelicious, I wouldn't put a wash and wax, or I mean as a maintenance, yes, but not to do the stripping.
So start using the wash and wax. Because I have a wash and wax.
Yeah, you can use wash and wax with it all day.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, and you're really good. Like one of the best things you can do with a ceramic coating is use a chemical as a pre-soak. And then a lot of times it'll get most of that dirt off anyways, so you don't ever scratch the ceramic. So
Yep.
pre-soak, then soap, then rinse. You had a question?
So when you're talking about how long these products last, Houston is the weather elements are brutal.
Absolutely.
yeah.
The sun, the construction,
Humidity.
So when you're saying like it'll last this long, it's like, well, does it last that long in ideal weather conditions? And if not, what can I really tell people to expect? And I know it's going to be based on how you care for it.
That's a great question. Well, we're based out of here, so luckily we've tested it in this market the most. We have it on one of the owner's cars, and he's had it on there for what, 7, 9 years,
12
something
years now.
crazy?
12
years. And you can still see a marked difference between the one area that wasn't coated and the area that was. And he doesn't do a ton of maintenance on his car. So it does last. It just requires, as far as when you're detailing, give it a little boost occasionally with that 918 ceramic spray sealant, and it'll stay up.
Okay.
It'll stay strong.
Every time you know the car is ceramic coated, you would just add that booster no matter what, just so that way.
Yeah.
And their people's mind, they can still see it's fresh, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's a placebo effect. That's what it is.
What it
It
is.
is what it is.
I call it a sacrificial coating. You're
yeah.
putting a coating on top of a coating. Yeah. Yep.
That's all it is. It's just for the people. Oh, yep, it's still on there. Good. You know.
Yeah.
And it also depends on, it lasts longer on how they maintain and keep it, because you can't
100%.
you can't put that on and then go through the 2 car wash and expect it to last.
Exactly, the last 5 years.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you might get 2 years if you're a constant car wash user. Yeah. Yeah, it'll cut it down.
Because those chemicals are a lot stronger, and they have that friction going with all those all those curtains and stuff. So that's constantly adding agitation to that paint surface.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yes,
Sure.
sir.
I noticed that since I've been living here in Houston,
Mhm.
I go get my car washed. 2 days later, it's dust
Mm.
all over the car.
Mm.
And I asked the guy that has the car wash, do you have some type of chemicals in there that gravitates towards dust just being caked on the car? So my question is this: will ceramics stop it from being accumulating the dust?
It'll be a lot easier to wipe off, to keep the dust off. There's nothing we can control. We can't control how the air and wind flow and pick up dust and whatnot.
I think it's more pollen.
Yeah, you know what I
It
mean?
can be
It's more
static
pollen than
too,
anything.
dude, yeah.
It's more pollen than anything else, yeah.
Can't
And so there's-
prevent that,
we
man.
can't control how the flowers pollinate, and all only thing we can do is with that ceramic though, we'll make it just easy to blow off with your blower even. You don't even gotta turn on water on. You can just blow it off with a blower like you would in your driveway.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what we're here
Go
for.
for
Yeah,
it.
we're good.
Yeah.
On a vehicle that's just recently been painted, how long do you have to wait before you can apply a ceramic coat?
You need to actually hit up your body shop guy because everyone uses different paints. They need to speak with their paint manufacturer because each type of paint has a different off-gassing period. So,
Some start 30 days to even 180 days.
yes.
So it just depends
Yep.
on the paint manufacturer on that.
And if you lock it in, it'll make your ceramic haze up underneath. It turns
before
like
you do
gray.
it too soon.
Yeah.
So should we contact them if we find a person that wants to get their car done
Absolutely.
and it's a new car?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So ask them, who do you buy the car from?
Oh, if it's a brand new car, that's usually perfectly
You're
fine.
probably okay.
You're probably
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because all those,
But
but the freshly painted car, yes. Say they have
Yeah.
like a Sunday car that just got painted candy blue, you know. So for that first 45 to 90, 180 days, depending on, it has to gas out and it'll fully dry. The paint will be fully dried. So you don't want to apply a ceramic coating on that, and all those gases get trapped underneath, and they cause a haze to make that. Without-
Do this before we talk, doing the work on the car.
Yeah.
To the painter.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that instance happens a lot more with bricked vehicles. So they were in a collision. They went to a body shop. They had a coating on there originally. You got to reapply it because it was on there, and it's all covered in our Carfax and in the registered warranty. So you get paid to reapply it all over again. But you have to contact the body shop and see who painted it and how long ago was it painted, and what's the curing time. Because sometimes you may have, if it was just painted, you may have 3 days to go in between before you have to let it sit for 90 days or something. So
Can you apply a waterless wash chemical on the coating to get that dust off you're talking about?
you can,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
It won't hurt it at all.
So he asked if a waterless wash or a quick detailer. So showroom size a quick detailer.
We have it up
but
here.
we also have a waterless wash, which is Connor's gonna find it for you as well.
I'm gonna try.
hopefully.
Anyone see it?
We just put it in a spray bottle and you just spray it on and you wipe it off.
This is a waterless wash. It's like you spray on say if a car is lightly.
And we're talking about our showroom shine. So yeah, this is a quick detailer. A lot of the times the dealerships will have the car sitting inside the showroom. They spray the liquid real quick and they just wipe it down, and it just makes it
So
nice
would
and shiny again.
That
work?
guy.
Say for instance, I
Yeah.
just washed my.
It's a great chemical, man.
and
Does a good job.
It rained.
Yeah.
That
For like 30
This
for like
guy
30
you
minutes
actually
real quick.
mix
Yeah.
either in a bucket or a spray bottle, like 7
Come
to
back
1.
with this real quick and
Usually
then
the ratio.
as opposed to washing it all over again.
Just started washing it
Yeah.
up. Yeah, 'cause that's
It's a pain, yeah.
okay. Yeah. Okay,
Giant pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Any more questions, guys?
If you're gonna use the waterless wash, you definitely want to follow the 7-2 number.
Yes.
Yes. Do not go straight.
Yes. So the water.
So you can cut this.
No, you can cut that one. This one is ready to use. That one's 7 to 1.
Right.
I recommend 10 to 1, but you can go 7 to
Yeah,
1 even.
yeah. If you go straight, it's almost milky. It's super thick.
Hold
Yeah.
on, one more time. There was 2 people asking the same question. Gotcha.
Yes. Well, and ours is different because it almost has a wax
She
that
said
gets
make
left
sure you,
behind,
you
whereas
dilute
other
it,
ones are
that
just
waterless wash.
to lift
Because
up
if you use
things
it
like
straight,
a polymer. So this one will leave a shine behind, and most of them,
yes and
all
no.
they're doing is
This one
creating
has a lot more
buffer
solvent,
to
has more
lift stuff
cleaning
off the surface.
capability
So
than
it's
this one does.
quite a solid
This
product.
one is just going to add some shine, some slickness to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of buildings you can't have. Say for instance, you go to
That's what we're
downtown
here for.
and you go to an office building and they have a whole parking structure. You can't have running water coming out of the parking structure, right? So, but those cars still want to be clean, so you just go in there with a wet microfiber towel and a dry one, and your spray bottle, and you just go hit everybody's car.
Dude, it's perfect to clean in your garage. You're feeling lazy on a Saturday, your car's not too dirty, just a little dusty. Even out of a spray bottle, spray and wipe, 7-to-1, it's fantastic. So, exactly, 2 towels. Yeah, if you're gonna do it out of a spray bottle, basically you have 1 towel that's completely wet with just water.
Okay.
And that's your first towel you wipe off with to kind of prevent dirt from scratching as you remove it. And then the second towel is to polish it off. So, yeah.
So is it better, it's probably better to use those towels that you throw away? Is that better?
With this one, I like to use the fluffiest towel possible because the longer the hair, the less pressure you're putting on the paint, which means less likely to scratch. So
I'll get one.
Here, I got one right here, bro. Yeah, you guys have seen these guys, right? Yeah, go and pass that around. The thicker, the better. The most important thing is just a clean towel. It can be thin. It really doesn't matter too much.
This is the standard one, so you can feel the thickness, and you can look at the hairs and see how. Well, no, that's a ceramic one.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, man. You
Yes,
got to
ma'am.
be gentle even when you're applying ceramics, because some paints, I mean, how many of you have actually worked on like a black Cadillac or like a black GMC truck where you breathe on it and it scratches for some reason, man? Palisades, yep. Soft paint. Even that, even Teslas have a really soft black paint. So if you've got a situation like that where looking at the car scratches it, you want a high GSM or grams per square meter towel. And it just means they're thicker, they're easier to work with, they're less likely to scratch.
Yes,
So.
ma'am. So what we would do is we would have you send pictures of the vehicle
Yep.
to our insurance. Well, you. They want
Better
you.
for
They want you're gonna have your customer bring it back to you and be like, okay, well, let me see what's going on, so you can assess what's really going on, because you're the one who applied it. You're the one who knows what the ceramic coating looks like, because they don't know what's being coated, what's not being coated. So we would have you come back because you're the one who installed it for them. You would take pictures and you would send it to our insurance program. And our insurance adjuster would be like, yeah, that doesn't look like, it failed, and so they would send you the invoice to send them back to the invoice, sorry. So they would reimburse you to reapply it onto that person's vehicle.
Which brings up
Yep.
another issue. When we go out and start doing work in it, do we need insurance to cover ourselves on applying this ceramics
I would
onto vehicles?
have insurance for your business in general, because while you're
Sure.
working on someone's vehicle, if you bump it, if you scratch it, you're responsible for it, no matter what. So I would recommend insurance for your business no matter what.
So will all insurance cover the ceramic hazard? I guess that's what I'm saying.
It would cover any mistakes you want to submit for a claim, but I
Yeah.
mean, it can be for anything, man. What happens if you're cleaning a motor and you fry the ECU? That could cost you $8,000. $8,000 can put a shop down. You know what I mean? That's a whole month's worth of income. So it's more preventative than anything. You hope you never use it, but it's better to have it.
Yeah.
And it's usually not too spendy around here, I don't think. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. We absolutely
Of
do.
course.
We
Let me see
absolutely
if
do.
I can find one for you. Yeah.
I had a question, man.
Yeah, talk to me.
Do you prefer the clay, when you're doing the clay, do you prefer the clay mint or the clay ball? Which one do you
So it depends on how bad the car is. Now, if the car's been sitting there for 10 years, I'm gonna need a clay bar, just because it's more aggressive. If a brand new car, I'm gonna pull a clay mitt. Yeah, I mean, just because it's less aggressive, I don't want to put. Why would I put a jackhammer to put I can just use something. I can just a regular claw hammer and call it a day.
3 years old, you wouldn't put a
I wouldn't put a clay bar. I wouldn't need it. I'll put a clay bar for sure, or a clay mitt. But I wouldn't put the actual clay bar because it's really aggressive. Yeah.
Clay scratches, guys.
Clay
no matter
scratches
what
as
you
well.
do, it
Clay
always
scratches
scratches.
as well, because think about it, you're removing the iron and the particles that are embedded into that clear coat, and you're still rubbing. You're pulling particles out, but you're still constantly rubbing, so you're putting in micro scratches and backing into it. So
But if you don't take it off with the clay, your buffer's going to pick it up, and then it's even worse.
It's even worse,
So
absolutely.
you have to clay no matter what.
yes,
Which
Yeah.
product would you use to lube with the clay?
I would use back our showroom shine.
There she is.
That quick
Yeah.
detailer we talked about.
So you can use it as a lubricant?
Absolutely, Bubba.
That's what
Yeah.
she's made for.
I mean,
Yep.
it's $11 a gallon. Use it. Yes, brother. Use it. Use it for clay.
Iron remover in it, or use it with iron remover.
So what I would iron remove before I would clay. Personally, I know Dan said there's no the
Wipe it with
the-
a microfiber.
yeah, wipe with
So
microfiber.
is this the same iron remover that you spray on your wheels to get the
Absolutely.
that turns
Yep.
purple? and
Yes, sir.
gets it-
Same exact one.
Yep. It's made to get in all those cracks and crevices where you can't get your clay. That's the
Yes.
important part. Around the headlights, door jams, stuff like that.
And
So.
you let it sit the same amount of time, like maybe 30 seconds or
Yep.
something before?
Minutes, usually a couple minutes,
you
unless
could-
it's direct sunlight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also don't recommend doing anything in direct sunlight, guys.
No.
We will reiterate that over and over again, just because
Especially
don't do
ceramic,
anything
God
in direct
please.
sunlight. Don't do any kind of washing, just because you don't. Unless you're using pure water, like RO water,
Right.
then you can do whatever you want, because you don't want to add spots.
Well, that was another question. I know I look at a lot of YouTube videos and I see guys in like, especially in California, they have where they can get the deionized water. Is there anybody in Houston where you can get deionized
Give us a couple months, and we will have it.
We're working on it.
We're working on that.
Yep.
Yeah, we actually started on that project.
Takes forever to get the
last
city
week.
on board, man.
It's just all about
Takes a long
permitting, though.
time.
I mean, it takes a year and a half of permitting to get that,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
because you're using.
Because that's been my
we-
biggest challenge, trying to, and I know trying to get a home set up, it's expensive.
It's expensive.
It
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Yeah, you'll drop 2-3K on filters, bro, all day.
I used to, I used to have a window cleaning business. I used DI water. I'll say if you don't put it through RO first, you're gonna eat through the DI resin, and it's real expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And that's
So you have to
the biggest
Good
reverse
point.
osmosis first,
Solid.
and then deionized.
Yeah.
Two-stage or a three-stage.
Yeah.
Sure.
So all of our products go through a RO system and a DI system. So for every 5 gallons we bring in, we're only using 1.
So I know
Gallon of water.
I wash cars.
Here.
I mean, I have
Yeah, that's crazy.
I have a 100-gallon tank in my van, and I use I fill it up with water at home. But when I do fill my chemical, I use distilled water.
There you go.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, just to make it last longer, and it makes it pure. Absolutely.
Even in your steamer or anything like that,
Right,
because
I
all
use
that
the-
calcium builds
Right,
up.
yeah.
Yep, totally. Smart. Good idea.
But yeah, we're gonna have it 24/7 accessibility, so that way,
cool.
and it'll be all. We're trying to either figure out credit card or
Card swipe,
token.
probably.
Well,
Yeah.
tokens, because that way, if you buy, 10 tokens, it'll be
Ah.
you'll be able to get like $10 off inside the store at the same time.
Okay,
So I mean, just trying to do stuff like that. So
Okay.
I like it.
Sell DI water.
we're gonna sell DI water,
Yeah.
RO DI water. Yeah.
It surprises me that we'll be the first in all of Houston to do it. It's such a big city. How does no one done that business yet?
Well, which is
And
yeah.
Literally,
I
Cali's
look
everywhere.
and I'm like, you look on in other places like, man, all these other places selling, deionized water, and
Right.
nobody in Houston is doing that.
Dude, no one touches it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about the reverse osmosis DI water is that you guys can wash an entire RV, not dry the thing, and not have a single water spot come out of it, dude. It's about speed. It's about not following behind and wiping. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what's up?
Like in a water tank, like in my trailer, I have one of those water tanks. Is there like anything I can put in it to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I get free water from the farmers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just pull up,
Absolutely. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Good
Yeah.
question.
So is there like anything I can like throw in the tank?
Something like almost like a thermos.
Like any,
Right, to treat it.
I don't know personally like that.
I've looked up every.
We have chemicals that will work with hard water, but
Yeah.
not to treat
So not to
hard
treat
water.
water like that. Yeah. Because it's a filtration process as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
putting something in.
Walmart is supposed to sell these filters, but they say they don't. Man, they don't.
They don't work.
The
I
RV
have a
filter?
water tester,
Yeah.
but I can test the water, and it's like it's still crappy. Man.
Yeah.
So it's like you're spending $15 on it. It's like it's still
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it'll do like
'Cause- 'cause
800
I said,
gallons, so
has
it's
to
done like
filtrate it out,
that. Yeah.
As opposed
Yeah.
to just setting up like a chlorine bomb or something, like chlorine tablet. Unfortunately.
I wish.
Yeah.
Someday with science.
Gotcha.
Cool.
What else? Do we
Any
need?
other
Any
questions?
more questions?
Are y'all gonna go through the line?
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
That's actually next.
Yes.
I've never seen the complete body
So
This guy right
we
here?
have two versions. We have a concentrate, which is this one, and then we have the ready to use.
Yeah.
So the concentrate, how we sell it is we apply it with the garden hose foamer as opposed to your pressure washer foamer. And you dilute it at the highest dilution rate, which is 128 to 1. And you just spray it on the car, let the foam just dissipate. You just free rinse it.
Now, which product is this?
This is going to be our complete body protection.
Okay.
So
CVP.
we
Yep.
sell this to dealerships to have a 1-year protection program on the warranty.
So
Under
you
warranty.
don't recommend that in the foam cannon for your hot?
We do.
pressure water?
We can. You can.
You can.
But you get the maximum benefit out of this low pressure system,
just the one you
as opposed to the high pressure system. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I think you end up using way more if you go with the pressure washer side of things. So this is more an efficiency question.
Yeah. This is-
But
And you don't dilute this?
yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're gonna do it. It's gonna do that out for you. So you
if you
just fill
don't
it up.
want to, you can do that.
Yeah.
But sorry.
So you just fill this all the way up with the chemical, and there's a little selection right here that you just change.
Okay.
And the highest one is E, and it's 128 to 1. And the water comes in here. It's a water hose. Yes, ma'am.
Just the garden
You
hose.
say this one would be diluted and that one can't?
Yes. So
Yeah.
the yellow one can. The
If you
yellow
don't want
one's
your
ready to
employees
use.
to deal with it, right there.
Yeah. And you just put that in a spray bottle.
And then
Yeah.
you use that after you ceramic?
If
You
somebody doesn't
could.
want to pay, so this goes to who wants to pay, who can afford a $1,800 ceramic coating, and who can afford a $600 ceramic coating. This will be your $600 ceramic coating. It'll give them a year protection though. It's not going to give them the full 3 to 5 years as the hardened would. This is the difference you're going to offer them.
Yeah.
So
It's stages.
Yes.
The ceramic shampoo and the complete protection?
Longevity. So ceramic shampoo, you're getting like 2 months of protection. With CBP, you get about 1 year of protection. And the gloss seems deeper
Yeah.
with the ceramic body protection too.
Buy one before I leave here.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's great.
definitely.
Uh-huh.
The ceramic shampoo, that can be used in a
Foam cannon
Yes.
or bucket, yes sir.
Yep, just the standard one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the options that we offer for coatings that either some people want a year, some people want the 3 to 5 year. So that's what we're offering. And then some people just want a 6 month. We can just go straight ceramic spray sealant if you really want. And you will charge them $350 for that. So it's all about stages. It's all about stages.
Oh, you get a lot of
know.
suds. Yeah.
Best stage is $1,800. Or no, yeah, for a
Because
car.
it's a low
for trucks,
foam,
2,200.
So
depending
it's
on
a low pressure. It
depending on,
foams
what
out
you're
really
offering.
thick, which is nice because you want it to
Yeah.
sit in place for a couple of minutes, and you actually let this product dry in place, which is weird. And then you just
and
rinse
call
it
a
off,
day.
dry
Yeah.
the car, and it's ceramic. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that here
Then
and
don't
there.
buy it.
Yeah.
I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of
So that's why we offer them the
Yeah.
different levels.
packages sometimes. You know, they're like, I'll do you a basic wash type of deal.
Yeah.
You know, and full interior detail type of thing. You know,
Definitely.
put
Yes.
line sink them, get her husband, get her neighbors.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah, you cater it to the customer, man. Not everyone's got the same budget, you know.
Absolutely.
The guy rolling up with the Bentley's different.
What's the price point on the waterless
The,
wash?
how much is a gallon of that? I want to say it's like $19.
20, yeah.
$20. $20, yeah, 19, 20 bucks.
It's not bad.
It's 11.50.
Yes.
That's not bad at all. Cause see, I have a customer, MD Anderson Cancer Center.
Sure.
They do, you can't let the water go down, and I'm trying to find something more effective than, cause I got a big water reclamation system in my van, it's a
Sure.
fucking pain, excuse me, it's a pain in the ass, man. So I gotta
Totally.
lay out a wash, man.
You gotta look like wash mat. You gotta
Vacuum it
You
up.
gotta suck it up, and
Yeah.
disregard the water when I get them, like, I spend an hour cleaning
just
up,
doing
man.
it after you've done one wash.
That's what this is made for, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm looking for something like that where I don't have to pull out that wash mat and
Absolutely.
yeah, so,
How dirty are the cars when you're cleaning those ones?
well, that's the problem I'm working with them now. They'll let a car sit 2 years before they get it clean, and I'm working with them now. Like, dude, we got
Regular.
Yeah, this ain't working.
I go to the dentist every 2 years. You got problems, dude.
They break longer than that. And I was over logistics, so I know what we did with our
For
van.
the
Yeah.
Right.
Cancer Center. Well, my main company is I do lights for computers, modems, communication system, and they asked me, say, hey, would you be interested in detailing our vehicles for us? And I'm like, hell yeah, that'd be, we have 100+ vehicles in our fleet. But I started doing them, and they don't want to keep them up on a regular basis. They want to call me when
Whenever they get really bad.
Bump the price
Whatever
then,
they're-
bro.
Yeah, and it's
Give
like
them two price levels.
Right. Well, and we agreed on the price, but I'm like, well, dude, I can't keep doing them at this price if you're bringing them to me with 2 and 3 years worth of dirt on them.
Yeah, it's with an asterisk, bro. You
Yeah,
put every 3 months
And then
max.
I got to pull out because well, you can't let the water go down the drain, so you got to have a water reclamation system.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And I'm like, dude, this.
Because we got your hands on. That's why you want to make
You're
sure.
a detailer and you're like, I might take this through a car wash. That's weird. Yeah, I feel ya.
I'm thinking something like that would be with a waterless wash and wax will help me save a lot of time. And, you know, help keep them stay up to code because they will get fined if the EPA comes out and sees chemicals, you know, going down. Their
Absolutely will.
Totally.
That's something I'm looking for where I don't have to put out this big old pad and suck all this water back up and, you know, have to destroy it when I.
It's like 3 times the work, dude.
Oh, it is.
Literally.
Like, dude, this ain't-
Literally.
It's not even worth it for me, you know.
Yeah.
I used to do a hybrid wash. I did the tires and the wheel wells and then the rest of it waterless.
Yeah.
Not a bad
That's
idea.
definitely something that I'm interested in because it's just too much work doing it the way I'm doing it right now. So.
Yeah, and she's right. You can't really clean wheels with that product. You need something stronger because of the brake dust and
The brake
stuff.
dust,
So
yeah.
good recommendation.
Yes, sir.
So you were saying like the best way to prep is an iron remover, clay bar, buff, then apply the coating.
Yep.
What's the ceramic coating prep process?
So this is going to be whatever. So after you're done washing the vehicle, after you're done clay barring, after you're done iron remover, right before you apply it, you spray. It's an alcohol-based prep to get whatever fingerprints that you have. Somebody walked by the car and they let you know oil. Your hands have natural oils on them. To get all the oils and protection silicones that you had on there, sealants that you had on there, it'll remove all of that.
Polish, getting the like residue from the polish.
It'll get all the polishes off.
100%.
Yep, it'll get all of it off. That's what that's
If you got a
for.
glaze in there.
Spray it and wipe with microfiber, and then the car is prepped to go, and then we would recommend
so you
applying it.
have to rewash it again?
Nope.
Just,
No.
Okay, once you get to that phase.
Yes, sir.
The ceramic coating is ready to go
Right.
on after you get to that.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yep. It's the
'Cause I see
final
some guys
thing,
that say,
man.
"Oh, you have to rewash the color again." And
No.
That's so much work.
Yeah, no.
Oh, and then you're going to run into the issue of you're applying a ceramic and you got water dripping out of cracks and stuff.
Yeah.
What a
That
nightmare.
doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so the other thing the alcohol does is that your paint has pores. And so not only are you removing like the grease off the
Something like that.
Totally. Yep. It's going to be like a wax for fabric. That's all it is, man. Keeps water on top. Now don't think that this is permanent. This just gives you a chance, like say you spill a milkshake on your floor, it gives you like 3 to 5 minutes before it starts to soak in. Yeah. Yep. So it's just a protection. Good questions. Yes. Yeah, it's not going to like if you have your kid grab a permanent marker, draw on your tan seat, it's not like this is going to prevent that marker from getting through, you know what I mean? It's about keeping the life in the leather.
I had that happen.
With the leather kits, do you have to do those under like a certain type of climate, like in an indoor area? It can be too. Okay.
Honestly, sometimes heat, at least when you're trying to get things to soak in on leather, heat will actually promote it soaking in more. I come from a colder area, so yeah.
Coldness makes everything come closer because it wants to stay warm. So with the heat expanding everything out, and all the pores.
Sucks it in.
Hot area, warmer temperature is a lot better than cold temperature to apply to this
But
coating.
you guys don't get like frozen or anything like that, though, so
No,
you
we
should
don't.
be golden. You're not going to have any issues. And even if it's 100 degrees outside, it's not going to damage leather by putting it on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Registration goes with Carfax too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, let me show that to you guys. I don't know if Dan showed the card.
I don't know if he did or not either.
Yeah. We're paying attention to YouTube comments in the back. So we'll pass this around, but that's what you would get if you buy this kit and you fill that guy out, you mail it into us, we register it, and that's how it pops up on Carfax.
Absolutely.
But you don't get that unless you buy the box. That's why it's $50 more. You're paying for that warranty. If you want a self-warranty, guys, you can
All
do that
day.
all day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that $50, like I said, goes to Carfax so we can report.
Well, when you warranty it with the card, you get you also get paid for redoing it if it's a problem.
If it's a problem,
Yes.
yep.
And then you also get a new bottle.
You get a new bottle and everything. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Oh,
That,
bro, it's
and then-
insurance for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and then, say for instance, that person sells that vehicle, it transfers to one more owner.
Okay.
So, So yeah, so that way, like I said, so say for instance, it's a 2025 car. The person wants it gone after they want the new body style next to 2026. They sell that car, that will transfer to the next person. But it won't transfer to the following and then the following and the following. But it'll transfer one time. It's a one-time transferable warranty.
Yeah. People are keeping their cars for about 3 years on average anyways, so
Yeah,
usually
3 to
the
5
warranty
years is
will
usual.
expire. Yeah.
The cost of stuff now?
Bro, I know, I'm going older and older with my makes and models. Yeah, dude. I can't afford 90 grand on a car. No thanks.
I'm trying to find out how these people afford
Oh,
Dude, I
trust me.
know.
for a truck. I'm like,
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you see people with $1,200 payment on some, and I'm like, oh Lord, that is a house payment, man. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, everything up here is just going to be so that you guys can have more options to sell a customer a warranty or an upsell, because at the end of the day, a detail, let's say that you charge $250 for the detail, that's 90% of the work right there. Why not add on little tiny services that take you 5-10 minutes and then double or triple your money? That's what this is all about, guys. So in the Quantum line, you know, if I were one of you guys and we're just a third-party detail shop, I'm probably not going to buy the Quantum because I can buy this in the regular Stinger brand for less money, and you're not going to get the warranty as a detail shop, okay? But if you start doing that dealership work and you can convince a dealership, hey, I've got a program, you guys have to buy it, I can install it, we can go that route. That's definitely an
But
option.
we can get the warranty with the quantum ceramic coating.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Which, this is the most important one. This is what everyone thinks about when they think about ceramic, man. It's the hard coat. Yep. Cool.
So I'm going to show y'all real quick the fabric protector. So we made these coasters to hand out to our detailers to show them what the fabric protector actually really does. Okay.
Some good beating, man.
Look at that. And that's coated with the quantum?
Yes, sir.
So that's this
That's our
one right
fabric
here.
protector.
That's the fabric.
Okay.
Yep. Uh-huh. And we have a water-based fabric protectant, and we have a solvent-based fabric
So
protectant.
this is the fabric protector.
Personally, I recommend
talking
the
about right now.
solvent just because it
So it
dries
keeps the water on
faster
top
and
for
it's more
penetrating.
durable long term.
So I can slide it that way, and you can
Yes,
see it's
that
absorbing
one's
that
the
way, but it doesn't
solvent-based.
absorb
Yep.
underneath.
Is that what that
Yeah.
is right there? That's
Yep.
salt.
Yeah, the biggest way you can
So you
tell the
see?
different is
I
the
can
one that is a
move it
water base, has a
down
little bit of
that
a
way.
creamy look to it. It looks a little whiter. And then this one is always perfectly
I'm being
clear
photo.
if it's a solvent. Yeah.
Say less.
Yeah. Make sure you show the camera. Did it slide off?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So I'll show y'all too.
And you guys can see it looks like a full droplet, right? It does not adhere to
So
that
it
bottom
stays
at
on top?
all, man.
So I mean, I can slide it over here, and you can see how it's penetrating that side.
It's kind of
But
like
not that side.
Teflon on a pan.
So
It's the same idea. It's non-stick.
Is the ceramic body
that's pretty cool, huh? That's just gonna sell you. I mean,
So
I'd rather
it's just a
show
stronger
a customer
version
what
of
I
it.
can
Yeah,
do
it's the same
than
chemical
tell a
ingredient.
customer what I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is just the easiest one to use. That's the best part about it because it's the soap. You know, you're going to
But
use soap
unfortunately,
on
it's
every
one and
car
done.
anyways.
'Cause
so
I
you
mean,
might as well use
you know
all
what I
this
mean?
at the same time.
if a detailer wants to upsell, would they use the quantum line to
But yeah, like I said, we can sell y'all some of these.
It's
or
more about the service
we'll
than
give
it
y'all some of these as
is
samples
like
so
the
you can show the
product
customer.
name. Because
You'd rather
Stinger
show
and
your
Quantum,
customer
we're the
what the
same
fabric
company.
does
It's
than-
just a different
then
line
tell
that
them
we
what it
offer.
does. If I can show you
so,
something, it's
you know, as
easier
long
to
as you're
sell it that way
offering
if I
a
can show it to
quality
you.
end product, you can use the Quantum or the Stinger. You're going to get the same thing. Yep. So, good question.
We got 40, 30
It's
minutes.
branding, and then you do get a little bit of bump in strength, but it's not much. I mean, you're probably talking 20%. So,
We have any more questions, guys? We're gonna show y'all the process on how to apply the ceramic.
I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
So
Sure.
You guys got the, is that the, how you care for your microfiber towels, the laundry detergent?
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay,
I wash my clothes with it too. Personal clothes.
What do you wash?
I add that to my personal laundry detergent.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Bro,
Fragrance free. It has all the stuff you'd
No,
want.
no dyes, no fragrances. I mean, 13 bucks.
Oh, it's so cheap, dude. And it'll do 128 loads.
They'll do 128 loads. Yeah.
P&S stuff, and
That rags the riches. Don't get me wrong. That's a good product.
It's a good product.
But
yeah.
it's pricey.
it's pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much do you pay for the little bottle?
The laundry detergent. Yeah. Oh yeah. You already know. All the towels y'all go through at the car wash.
Well, I mean, it's
yeah.
just like you saw on that little postcard he was walking around with. some of our products are water resistant. So if you don't have a detergent that's made to break water resistance, it's just gonna stay in that towel, dude. So if you use 918 ceramic spray sealant, if you use, honestly, anything that has any kind of protection in it.
Any of the tire
Game over.
dressings,
Yep.
tire dressing, you know what I mean?
Even this guy.
Interior dressings that you apply on the dash,
Now, do you
those
guys
are off silicones
recommend washing your towels separately, so can you
Yes.
just wash them together?
separately.
Separately is always
Separately.
better.
Okay, so
Just
like-
because whatever contaminants are being washed out, they don't get applied to
So
the
my
window
interior
towels.
Right.
So anything I use on interior, wash those together.
Wash those
Anything
together.
I use on exterior, wash
Well,
those together.
anything for the
Yep.
windows, just wash those for
Wash
window
those
towel.
together.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got you.
Because if you ever had streaking,
Right.
that's what's going on. Because whatever silicone or the contaminants were on the towels that you just washed them with, they all just happen to spread out. Just because naturally it doesn't dry the towel, towels are still wet, so it still spins out. So that's what's going
It
on.
doesn't absorb.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the washer machine?
It doesn't matter. High efficiency,
It's made.
not.
They're so. The technology so improved so much now that it doesn't hurt it.
Some dudes will actually take that and put a little bit in a bucket, and they'll pre-soak their towels so they pre-clean.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Highly recommend that as well.
Dude, they come out so much better that way. It's about that dwell time.
So as soon as you're done, just throw it in the bucket. Just
Yeah.
throw them in the bucket, and then at the end of the day, just put them to wash. Just settle down. Yep. Because you're not picking it
Little
all the
brick
way.
garden there is
Yeah.
nice.
And you guys sell the Rag Company towels here?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
we
yeah.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
I bought a bunch of them online, and I've got tons of towels. So what I do, I never run out. So I'll put them in a bucket and soak them, and then I'll
Sure.
wash them the next day.
There we go.
Totally. Yep. It's more efficient that way, man. Totally.
I use the rags to riches by P&S. That's what I use.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try this because
But that 16-ounce bottle is the same price as our gallon price.
it's
Yeah.
a little bitty bottle.
I'm just
You
letting
want to save money, go with
I'm
Stinger.
I'm just letting
We
you know.
make good product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like P&S products. You know, we have no issue. You know, but
Yeah, we're friends with those guys.
yeah, we're
No
friends
big
with them.
deal.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so
Do
but
y'all have something like an interior that's compatible to their? Because I love the
Express
Express. Y'all have something that's compatible to that?
are all clean.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay.
And it's honestly, you're gonna get a higher dilution out of our products. Not to talk crap on anyone.
Yeah.
P&S does really good on the retail end of things. So usually their products are closer to like ready to use. You know, mixed 1-to-1, 1-to-4 max. All clean, you can mix 30-to-1. Yeah, I would only do that on a really hot day, you know, where I want to be more careful. But you have a really high strength chemical.
You ever gone to an automatic car wash? They handed you a towel that was a little wet with cleaner on it for your
Little squirt.
dashboard.
Right.
That's 30-to-1 all clean.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it is.
Can be trusted
So-
with a baby.
Yeah, it can be trusted with anybody. Yeah, I can hand it to you, and I know it won't wreck anything.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Anybody want to see how we apply the hardest ceramic? I know you've seen it already.
Back
but-
of the room. All right.
I know. I'm
What
sorry.
email?
He needs his
Oh,
certificates,
certificate.
yeah.
Bro, there's always broken printers, man. It happens all the freaking time. Yeah, the thicker stuff.
guys, we're going
Yeah,
on
we'll just
hands-on.
send you a file, dude.
We'll see y'all back after lunch, after hands-on at 1 o'clock. Thanks again for everybody tuning in. It was a pleasure. If you have any more comments, feel free to ask us. Thanks again.
Right.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I don't even know where he started the last class because I showed up a
I
little
think it's
bit
that.
later.
That's the top right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Did you hear at the beginning of the other class? You want to start it or?
I did not hear that at the beginning of the class.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. You got memes blowing up back there? Ok. Bienvenidos, gracias por venir. Hoy vamos a hablar mucho de la línea de Quantum. Es todo eso aquí en esa mesa. Quantum es una marca que pues somos los dueños de él, pero es básicamente enfocada en nuestra línea de cerámica, ¿ok? Entonces vamos a practicar de nuestro sistema. Tenemos cosas que puedes usar en el interior y también para la pintura, obviamente. Y hay clases de selladores que se puede usar para la pintura. Unos duran por 3 meses hasta 5 años, ¿ok? Pero, no sé si quieres empezar, pero tenemos un outline. Ok. Perdón, eso es una nueva clase para nosotros. Pero para empezar, queremos practicar un poquito acerca de los diferentes tipos de selladores que hay en el mercado. Todos saben que es cera, ¿no? ¿Ok? Pues la primera cera que viene a mente para mí sería carnauba. ¿Todos ustedes han usado carnauba en algún momento? ¿Sí? ¿No? ¿Tú eres nuevo con detallando? Ok. ¿Y cuánto tiempo tienen detallando ustedes? 3 meses. 5 meses, ok. ¿Y ustedes? Un año. Ok. Ok, perfecto. ¿Y trabajan juntos? Muy bien, ok. ¿Y sus nombres? ¿Cómo? Alan, ok.
Hola.
Victor, ok. David. Elizabeth. Ok, gracias. Bueno, y para que conozcan a nosotros, mi nombre es Connor. Tengo casi 20 años detallando y más de 12 años vendiendo químicos. Entonces podemos, ojalá, contestar todas las preguntas que tengan. Por favor, no salgan de aquí sin alguna duda. Estamos aquí para ayudarles.
Sí. Buenas, me llamo Zacarías Moreno, trabajo acá por 17 años, venden los químicos por como casi, usando los químicos por 17 años, pero venden los químicos por 5 años ahorita. También usa todos los químicos acá y tienes preguntas, llámame y está bien.
Perfecto.
Sí. I'm gonna go get
Oscar, sure. Oh, ya, para empezar. Ok. Perdón, hace bastante calor aquí en Houston. No soy de aquí, entonces estoy poco a poco aclimando, ¿ok? Pero esa clase, como les dije, vamos a enfocar mucho en pues, los selladores que hay. El mejor que tenemos es ese. ¿Alguno de ustedes ha usado Quantum antes o no? Completamente nuevo con cerámico en general. ¿Ya? Ok, perfecto. Eso es la mejor manera para tener, pues, para ganar muchísimo más. No sé si tienes competencia que vende esos ceramic coatings. ¿Ha encontrado a alguien que vende ceramic coatings en su área? ¿No? Nunca. Ok, perfecto. Qué bueno que viene. Ya. Pues eso es la mejor manera a ganar más. Pues normalmente cuando haces un detail, ¿cuánto cobras? Por algo completo. Ajá. 200, ok. ¿Y ustedes? Por
190.
Ok, 190, perfecto. Con ceramic coatings, el mercado es muy variable, no sé cómo decirlo. Hay mucha gente que lo vende barato y hay unos que lo vende por todo, en serio. Yo tuve un cliente en Idaho, de donde soy, que vendía los ceramic coatings y el detail completo por $5,000. $5,000. Y lo hacía en un día. Y normalmente tenía 3 de esos trabajos a la semana. Entonces, eso es lo que cambió ese trabajo de detallando. Eso ayuda a que ustedes puedan tener más dinero para, bueno, obviamente ahorrar y gastar en casa, pero también invertir en su propio negocio, ¿ok? Normalmente aquí en Houston, la gente que aplica ese ceramic coating está vendiendo entre $1,200 hasta $2,000. Este es el precio mediano. Pero, como todo, completamente depende de ustedes y el valor que ustedes traen a sus clientes. Si ustedes hacen un mejor trabajo que su competencia, puedes cobrar más. Si guardan el coche más tiempo y toman más cuidado en limpiar el coche y prepararlo mejor que otros, van a ganar más. Pero es como todo, pues si tienes una buena reputación, pues la gente va a confiar en ustedes, ¿ok? ¿Ustedes han visto una diferencia entre pues cuando empezaron y ahora? Bastante, ¿no? Ya, y ojalá que tengan clientes que regresan y hacen más trabajos con ustedes, ¿no? Eso es todo, eso es la meta. Ojalá cada año que tienen sus puertas abiertas, hay más gente que viene y hace el mantenimiento de su coche o su capa cerámica, ¿ok? Pero, como todo, es como un pirámide, no sé si eso es la palabra, un pyramid, ¿no? Normalmente hay cosas que se puede vender dependiendo de cada cliente. O sea, si hay un cliente que viene a su shop y solamente tiene $200, ¿lo vas a vender una capa cerámica o no? Yo no, porque no vale. No tiene el valor y no te puede pagar por su tiempo ni el producto. Entonces, por un cliente que tiene $200, vas a venderle a lo mejor un detallado completo y a la vez una capa de cera, máximo, ¿no? Si tiene alguien que entra al shop y tiene $500 para gastar, a lo mejor la capa de vida para esa persona podría ser uno de polymer. Es una palabra bien difícil de decir en español. ¿Lo puedes decir? ¿Polimer? Oh, bueno, es bien fácil. ¿Qué onda? Pero eso es una diferente tecnología que hay. Primero siempre fue la cera, que la cosa más parecida a cera es aceite. Es un aceite que viene de un árbol. Pero saca bría, dura por poco tiempo, máximo 5 meses más o menos. Y cuando sube al otro nivel de los polymers, vas a tener entre 1 año a 2 años de durabilidad y puedes cobrar más por eso, porque va a mantener la pintura por más tiempo. Y hay otros, como eso, nadie lo ha usado, ¿no? ¿Son nuevos a la línea de Stinger y Quantum? Ok, perfecto. ¿Y ustedes también? Ok. ¿Cómo oyeron de la clase? ¿Social media o algo así?
Yo estaba buscando cursos de ceramic coating.
¿Eso?
Yo vengo de Los Ángeles.
Oh, no, ¿en serio?
Sí.
Eso, gracias por venir, cuate. Bien hecho. ¿Y usted también?
Yo sí vine a comprar productos ya de Stinger.
¿Eres de aquí? ¿De Houston? Ok. ¿Y ustedes de Houston? Eso. ¿Y ustedes de Katy, más o menos, no? Ya, ok. Pues gracias por venir. Sé que es un gran esfuerzo porque, pues, ¿qué? ¿Son 7 horas para volar desde California o 5 más o menos?
En vuelos 3:30.
Ok, 3:30. No está tan mal.
Carro
Pero sí cuesta.
6 horas. Sí.
Ya, eso sí. Ya, pero gracias. Pues hoy esperamos que aprendan mucho. Zach y yo, pues sí sabemos un poco de español, vamos a hacer lo mejor que podamos. Pero sí tenemos otros compañeros de nosotros que tienen el español un poco mejor que nosotros también. Entonces, si hay algo que no entienden por el idioma de nosotros, dígalo, por favor, sin pena. Ya. Pero bueno, después de los polymers, tenemos la capa cerámica. Y eso es la tecnología más alta que hay en el mercado hoy. Dura por el máximo tiempo. Van a haber productos que duran entre 1 año hasta, bueno, hay compañías que dicen que dura por todo el tiempo, por su vida, por ejemplo. Pero eso no es cierto, eso no es posible. Aunque somos detailers, pues nada dura por siempre, ¿ok? El nuestro le va a durar entre 5 a 7 años. Tiene una alta durabilidad de, no sé cómo decirlo en español. Ustedes saben de, no sé cómo se dice. There's a thing where you can tell how hard it is. Puedes verificar qué tan duro sea la capa cerámica dependiendo de ese sistema. Y eso es nivel 9. Hay unos que llegan hasta 10, pero eso es el nivel de diamantes. Ya lo sabes. Pero lo bueno aquí es que nuestro cerámica viene con una garantía más larga. Vas a tener una garantía entre 2 a 3 años, dependiendo del vehículo. Y a la vez, no es una garantía, es un warranty. O sea, si la capa cerámica falla, vas a recibir un bote nuevo y vamos a pagarle por su tiempo para corregir lo que estaba mal con el coche. ¿Ok? Perfecto. Ok, a ver. No sé cómo la gente puede estar enfrente de la clase por 3 horas hablando de una sola cosa. Ok. Perfecto. ¿Todos ustedes están familiar con el proceso de cómo lavar, cómo pulir todo eso o más o menos? ¿Ya? ¿Saben cómo pulir? ¿Ya? Ok. Esa es la cosa más difícil con ese proceso. Eso es la cosa que tenemos que mejorar más que nada, porque casi todo trabajo viene siendo en perfeccionar la pintura. Si hay rayas, si hay manchas de agua, si algo está quemado, algo así, oxidación, hay que quitarlo y hay que mejorar la pintura antes de aplicar la capa de cerámica. ¿Ok? Entonces, el primer paso, ¿dónde está? Aquí está. El primer paso es limpiar el coche. Y tenemos, creo que 12 jabones que vendemos. Son bastantes, hay diferentes olores, colores. Casi todos son de pH neutral. Y eso es bueno para mantener la capa de cerámica. Pero cuando están preparando el coche para una limpieza antes de aplicar la capa de cerámica, hay que limpiarlo súper bien. Hay que quitar todo. Entonces, sugerimos que usen un jabón como ese, de pH un poco más alto. Eso llega hasta 10, creo. Y le ayuda a quitar cera, contaminación, le va a ayudar a quitar polvo, tierra, lo que sea. Pero no te va a ayudar con nada de las manchas de agua o problemas como esas, ¿ok? Hay otros productos que está hecho por eso. ¿Ustedes usan un foam cannon o prefieren usar una cubeta para lavar? Foam cannon, ok. ¿Y usted?
Dependiendo del tiempo que tengas.
Ok, eso está bien. Dependiendo. Yeah, y depende mucho del coche también, ¿no? Si está súper sucia, muchas veces voy a agarrar un cepillo o voy a usar algo como un pre-soak. Para mí, prefiero... ¿Mande? Oh, perdón. Perfecto. Eso es uno de los productos, uno de los mejores en el mercado que tenemos para moscas, ¿ok? Pero eso está hecho para el prelavado también. Puedes ponerlo por todo el coche, no va a dañarlo hasta que si se seca, no importa, no quema. Lo bueno con un prelavado es que puedes ponerlo en la superficie. ¿Pregunta? ¿Todo bien? ¿Todo bien? Lo bueno de tener un prelavado es que puedes usar un químico para quitar casi todo el polvo antes de tocarlo con un cepillo. Cada vez que hay pintura y tierra arriba, vas a rayar algo. si lo tocas con un cepillo, ¿ok? Entonces, primero siempre empezamos con un prelavado, quitamos casi todo la tierra que se puede, quitamos las moscas y también eso puede ayudar con, ¿qué sería la salvia de árbol? Creo que es la palabra, ¿no? Tree sap. Hay que quitarlo antes de empezar también. Entonces, el primer paso, el prelavado. Después seguimos con un jabón que sea un poco más fuerte para quitar cera. Y hay un producto que se llama Iron Remover. Ojalá que lo puedo encontrar. Ustedes vean uno que se llama... Oh, creo que eso podría ser. Es uno amarillo. No, tampoco eso. Hay un químico que es muy especial que se usa solamente cuando estás haciendo capas de cerámica. Oh, por eso, cuate. Ok. Este químico apesta. Huele a vómito. En serio, es la peor cosa que vas a usar, pero no importa la marca que usas, si sea Stinger, PNS o quien sea, el químico que está por dentro es un ácido que se llama glycolic acid. Huele feísimo, ¿ok? Es el químico que vean en las redes sociales que empieza con un color y cambia. Se pone morado. No sé si lo han visto antes. ¿Ya? ¿Lo has visto? Ya. Instagram. Todos lo usan en Instagram. Lo bueno de este producto es que estás tratando de quitar piezas de metal que agarran en su pintura, ¿ok? Cada vez que frenas en tu coche, salga un poco de polvo que está hecho de metal y cuando la pintura está, bueno, caliente o hay calor afuera, se pega y entra a la pintura y empieza a hacer óxido, ¿ok? Entonces hay que quitarlo perfectamente antes de aplicar la capa de cerámica, porque si lo ponemos encima de esas piezas de metal, hace óxido debajo de la capa y la única manera para quitarlo es lijar. La capa de cerámica es bien duro, bastante duro. Y no se puede quitar con ninguno de esos químicos. No importa si sea lacquer thinner, solvente, alcohol, no importa, no se puede quitar. Entonces, si hay un error en tu capa de cerámica, podemos pulir, cortar y podemos lijar. Esas son las únicas maneras para quitarlo bien de la superficie. ¿Tenemos preguntas hasta ahorita? ¿Todo bien? Ok. Bueno, ¿todos ustedes saben cómo usar clay? ¿Son familiares con eso? Clay bar? Ajá. Ok, perfecto. ¿Ustedes saben por qué lo usamos? ¿Para qué está hecha? Perfecto, ok. Pues cuando se siente la pintura, antes de corregir y antes de hacer un polish o algo así, siempre se siente casi como arena. Se siente un poco duro, pero a la vez no tan liso como lo queremos. Entonces siempre hay que tomar tiempo cuando iniciamos, después de lavar, obviamente, de usar un poco de clay lube, como esa, y se puede usar clay normal, que es un bar normalmente, o pueden usar uno de esos. ¿Lo han usado antes? ¿No es familiar? ¿O el otro? El bar, ¿no? Yeah. Pues siéntalo. Eso es una nueva tecnología que hay. Pusieron la misma cosa que es el clay por dentro de una goma. Entonces eso puede caer al suelo. Gracias, amigo. Y puedes limpiarlo. Pero si cae un bar de clay, lo tiras. Ya no hay opciones. Entonces eso sirve muy bien. No es tan agresivo como el clay normal, pero a la vez no hay necesidad de usar un clay como el morado que casi todos usan si no hay tanta contaminación. Si sea pintura, úsalo, Es perfecto por eso, es más rápido. Pero si es un coche nuevo, un coche que tiene 5 años y está bien cuidado, eso sirve perfectamente bien. ¿Ok? Pero cada vez que usas uno de esos, a ver, thanks man. Cada vez que usas uno de esos, pueden ser un poco duro al inicio y no son tan planos como lo quieres. Entonces sugiero que usas un poco de clay lube, lo pones en un cristal, en un vidrio, y después lo agitas ahí hasta que se queda más plano. Y eso te va a ayudar que no raya tanto en la pintura. Y ojalá cada vez que empiezas un coche nuevo lo haces así. Lo prepara bien. Es como limpiar tu pad cuando estás puliendo. ¿Ok? Ok. Perfecto. Bueno, después de hacer el proceso de descontaminar, tenemos que quitar las cosas que son un poco más sticky, o sea, como el salvia de árbol. Hay que quitar eso. Chapopote, si se puede, en el momento hay que hacerlo. Y hay químicos que están hechos por eso. Eso es el ceramic coating prep. Tenemos un producto, eso, citrus tar and gum, que puede quitar todo afuera del coche sin dañar. Eso está hecha de un producto que se llama delimonene. O sea, es un alcohol que se hace con el piel de naranja. Entonces es más suave, más ligera, pero hace el trabajo y no daña pintura como lacquer thinner. Porque lacquer thinner, si estás ahí por 20 segundos, se puede quitar la pintura hasta el metal. Entonces es bueno tener uno de esos en su shop. ¿Qué más? Zach, what exactly, do you think we should take them through the whole process of doing some hands-on with like clay and all that stuff too?
We got time, we have 2.5 hours.
We definitely have time, yeah. Well, let's set it up. ¿Ustedes quieren hacer las cosas a mano? ¿Como hacer un ejemplo en vivo? Mejor así. ¿Ustedes quieren guardarlo hasta el final o quieren hacerlo paso por paso? Es como ustedes digan. Es su clase. ¿Cómo sea? Paso por paso. Exacto. Okay. Hey, Luis, how many people do we have on YouTube? 2. Perfect. Can we put a camera right there on that guy? Perfect. Okay, vamos a ir a eso ahí, a la cajuela. Cool. I need your help up there, dog. No, I don't. I need time to think between. You're killing me.
I'm doing stuff now for Stuart, and that's why I'm like.
Bad time. Tell him to piss off. That's why Oscar and David are here. All right. Vamos a hacer un ejemplo. Oh, he's got him running around, helping with stuff. You got a showroom? Okay, let's do it. Okay, vamos a descontaminar. Okay. Gracias, cuates. Sure, let's do it. Okay. Perdón si se ponen ciego, ¿eh? Do a new battery?
Yeah.
Let me see if this one's got one. I think this one's dead too. Is that one on its last bar?
Yeah.
This one has
Well,
2.
Well, this is a scan grip.
Oh, it's
there's
only
filter
that
on
one? Shoot. Okay. Vamos a intercambiar las pilas. Perdón. Bueno, esta es la primera opción. ¿Todos han usado eso? Ok. Siéntalo, cuate. Pegajoso, ¿no? El único propósito que tiene ese material es levantar cosas de la pintura. Solamente eso. Bueno, obviamente hay bastante polvo aquí. No vamos a aplicarlo directo a eso, Entonces, primero vamos a limpiarlo un poquito. Ok. Y se puede usar un poco de ese químico para quitar. Ok. All right. Tomen en mente que esas cajuelas o esas piezas han sido cubiertos en cerámica entre 5 a 6 veces. Entonces, si pulimos aquí, ¿vale? Oh, did we? Son frescas. Son nuevas. Perfecto. Thank you. Yeah, they still have a little bit of dusty nibbing to do, that's for sure. Oh boy. All right. So. Oh, really? Oh my gosh. Talk about fresh paint. Bueno, si van a usar clay real, siempre hay que darle un nuevo lado. Entonces, eso es fresca, no tiene mucha contaminación por dentro, pero por cada panel o puerta o lo que sea, hay que doblarlo y empezar con una superficie nuevo, ¿ok? O van a rayar más. Ese químico solamente lo usamos por lubricación. Te va a ayudar a que no rayan tanto. Y, oh, thank you, bro. That helps a lot. Y cada vez me gusta aplicarlo directo al clay también. No hay una manera perfecta para aplicarlo o usar el clay, ¿ok? Hay personas que dicen que solamente se puede hacer en círculos. No es cierto, ¿ok? Lo importante de descontaminar es seguir dándole con el clay hasta que se siente suave. Y cuando ellos estaban diciendo que lo pintamos hace un mes, entonces es pintura muy fresca. Yeah, no tiene nada de contaminación. Pero si quieren sentirlo, se puede. ¿Alguien quiere hacer un poco de descontaminación? ¿O todos están... Yeah, you want to feel it? Go for it. Just keep massaging until it feels soft. Lo bueno de usar clay cada vez es que te va a ayudar en el paso de pulir. Porque si no quitas la contaminación, thank you. Si no quitas la contaminación antes de pulir, la esponja va a agarrar todas esas piezas de metal o de... Oh, we need to flip it around?
No.
That way they can see on camera? Perfect. They're seeing my back right now. And it's shiny. Freshly shaved head.
So, yeah, it's a one, you know, it's a line of this. So it exfoliates, like you said, it exfoliates, you know, women's skin care, it exfoliates your paint. Same example, removing all the dead drip coating on top of it with the clay water. So,
Although I don't recommend you use this in your shower.
yeah, not usually in the shower.
It was just a, yeah.
Yeah, but this is how you relate to it. I'm exfoliating the paint and make it smooth.
Si lo sienten, ya, es muy lijoso ahora. Y lo interesante del clay es que puedes pulir todo un coche y tardar 4 horas y no vas a tenerlo así tan liso como eso si no haces ese proceso de descontaminar. No se puede descontaminar con el buffer, no se puede. Y vas a dañar la pintura muchísimo más. Pero, ¿hay preguntas o todo bien aquí? Es muy sencillo. ¿Ya? Ok, perfecto. Vamos a las mesas otra vez. So, normally you just keep going until it feels smooth.
¿Cuánto tiempo lo tiene que dejar?
Pues no tiene un cierto tiempo, solo hay que darle hasta que se siente suave.
Okay. y después inmediatamente
Lo quitas. Yep.
Pregunta, ¿un
¿Ah?
solo cliente puede dar para un coche entero?
Oh, yeah, ¿cómo no?
So, por ese, no es ese gratis, ese pagan por $100 y más. Ese proceso, solamente ese proceso.
Solo de
Sí, dice el cliente, puede hacer esa, puede quitar la información, quita todo eso, y va a ser por eso le echa más brillo y da la más protección. Por $100.
y se llama ceramic wax,
No, this right here is just clay bar. It's just
Yep.
clay bar.
clay bar.
Just clay bar. Just
Yeah,
clay
you're just
bar.
gonna wash in clay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oscar, how much do you charge for a clay and seal?
Nomás con clay, con seal de cerámica, seal spray con el
The ceramic spray.
918.
ceramic spray, 1.75 en California. Con un carro chiquito. 175 con un carro.
Y un Tahoe.
¿Ah?
Y un Tahoe, algo así.
Un Tahoe,
Ajá.
como 275 porque es más producto, va a durar más tiempo.
Yep.
So what's
Tiene
the-
sentido.
so it's-
Tarda más.
Y si la vas a hacer con la cerámica, pues ya viene siendo, depende de qué año, pero yo también tengo un shop en Mexicali. ¿Ustedes cuánto cobran en Mexicali? Para lavar el carro, ponerle clay y nomás un spray seal. Tienes ese paquete así. Como $150 también. Y eso de México. ¿Cuánto están cobrando aquí?
65?
$20, baby. Woo! A ver.
Una top, si me llega a mí, le doy de $225 a $250.
Yep.
La barra, el playboard, nomás el spray seal. Es una cerámica a una top. Ya estoy cobrando como $1,000 nomás por la pura cerámica. Eso no incluye lavarlo ni nada.
Solo para aplicarlo.
Porque si no, vamos a quebrar.
Y no se puede brincar pasos con eso. No se puede. Si brincan ese paso, van a tener un poco de óxido y va a fallar el coating. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep this over here. Hey, Zach, how do you feel about doing a little bit of polishing in the class? Yeah. I think it's better.
It's a very, we had 3 times as many people last class.
Yep.
And it was hard to do that with these with
I just think because it's the hardest part of putting a ceramic on, if we can give them a little buffing demo, that'd be fun.
absolutely.
Yeah. ¿Ustedes quieren hacer un poco de pulida? ¿Un poco de polishing? Yeah.
una pregunta.
Yeah, adelante.
Luego de que tú hagas una descontaminación,
Ujú.
¿ya puedes aplicarle el tratamiento cerámico si queda bien o tienes que pulir antes?
Buena pregunta. ¿Ustedes oyeron la pregunta? Más o menos. No, está bien, por eso le repito. Después de hacer el tratamiento de clay, ¿se puede aplicar la capa cerámica? Es una buena pregunta, porque hay gente que sí lo haga así. Lo único malo de hacerlo directamente después de aplicar un poco de clay es que el clay cada vez, no importa si hay clay lube, ese químico aquí va a rayar. Y si lo pones directamente después, vas a sellar esas rayas debajo de la capa cerámica. Ojalá que no se hace. Exacto, ya. Entonces, después de hacer eso, de la contaminación, de quitarlo, también sugerimos que usan ese químico porque el clay no entra por todos lugares. Si piensan, bueno, imaginen enfrente de un coche. O sea, el grill, el bumper, donde están los focos. Hay muchos planos donde no entra clay y hay que descontaminar todo. Entonces es importante usar ese químico, sprayalo directamente a la pintura. Ojalá está mojada la superficie porque si hace calor, pues todo se activa más rápidamente y se puede quemar las cosas. Entonces, ponga agua primero, después aplica eso, déjalo en la superficie por 2-3 minutos y deja el químico ahí para que haga un trabajo bien y saca todas esas piezas de metal que están en la pintura y después quítalo con un pressure washer Y se puede usar algo como eso, un desengrasante para desactivar el ácido que está por dentro de ese químico. Y pues pueden seguir con eso de la pulida, ¿ok? Perfecto. Entonces, ustedes, ¿cuáles son las máquinas que usan en su shop para pulir? Es bueno entender qué usan.
Yo no estoy dando ese servicio todavía porque
Ok.
quiero aprenderlo primero antes de...
Pues vas a aprenderlo hoy. Perfecto. ¿Ok? ¿Y tú?
Long throw
Ajá.
y máquina osciladora.
Ok. DAs entonces. Ok, perfecto. Estos son muy buenas. Ajá.
Solo que yo no, es una de mis dudas que tengo porque a veces he visto que hacen buffer y después wax. He visto que hacen con la máquina de wax, le ponen un pad y pulen.
Right.
Entonces no sé la diferencia
¿Qué
entre
es
buffer, entre long throw,
Ajá.
si todo se puede usar con todas o...
Es una buena pregunta y de hecho voy a sacar unas pulidoras para que vean cuáles son las diferencias. Bueno, para empezar sería esa. Hey Zach, can you grab me a gear-driven machine? Thanks, man. Appreciate you. All right. ¿Todos conocen esa máquina aquí? Bien pesada, un viejito eso. Eso es una máquina rotativa, ¿ok? Eso es el más antiguo que hay. No la marca, pero la acción que hace. Solamente va en círculos, ¿ok? Eso corta más rápido que todo, pero a la vez hay un riesgo cuando usas esa máquina porque es el más rápido de quemar también, ¿ok? Yo prefiero empezar con eso y después acabar con un DA. Ah, thanks, bro. Perfecto. Ustedes conocen la marca Flex. Es uno que viene de Alemania. Muy buena marca. Y pues obviamente no tiene cable, viene con pilas, ¿ok? Si son detailers que tienen un van y van al hogar de su cliente, pues van a querer algo como eso. Se puede usar una máquina que tiene cables, obviamente, pero es un poco más difícil encontrar el lugar correcto para prenderlo, ¿ok? La diferencia entre esa máquina y la rotativa es que corta bien duro como esa máquina, pero tiene un poco de revolución como el DA, como hablabas. No es tan larga la distancia que hace. Como esa máquina aquí. El Rupes, 21 milímetros, va al lado. Y es muy bueno para pulir. Creo que eso tiene uno de 8 milímetros. Pero lo bueno es que tiene un gear debajo que no importa qué tan duro empujas, eso siempre va a dar vueltas, siempre va a cortar y también da un buen brillo. No es el brillo más alto, pero muy bueno. Si solo vas a tener una máquina, eso es muy buena. También el Dynabrake que vendemos es algo muy bueno porque puede cortar, puedes pulir, puedes hacer cosas bien duras y ligeras, ¿ok? Y finalmente, creo que eso más o menos es lo que tú tienes. ¿Es esa marca, Rupes?
No.
Ok, ¿otro? Pues hay bastantes marcas ahora. Pero esa máquina, la diferencia entre eso y la roja de Flex es que tiene una revolución más grande. No sé si pueden verlo así. Y se gira en círculos a la vez, ¿ok? Esa máquina no corta tan duro como los otros dos, pero saca el brillo más alto que los otros, ¿ok? Entonces, si vas a tener una máquina, eso es lo mejor. Si quieres ser el más rápido y tener los mejores resultados posible, yo digo teniendo esos dos es la mejor opción, ¿ok? Una rotativa para cortar y después sigues con algo como eso para quitar pues micro rayones pequeñas, algo así, ¿ok? Perfecto. ¿Eso contesta tu pregunta más o menos? Ok. Entonces, vamos a hacer una prueba ahí y vamos a ver cómo podemos sacar los mejores resultados posible ahí, ¿ok? Entonces voy a agarrar una máquina. Where do we have all our pads at nowadays, guys? Oh, right there. Vengan, cuates. Yeah. Because of the buffer? Okay. They won't even hear it, will they? Got it. Gracias por venir. Ahorita vamos a hacer un ejemplo a mano. Entonces vamos a cerrar la clase por un momento y regresamos pronto. Okay.